extending freshness up to 6 times longer. Now that's saving. With just one touch, it auto-feeds the bag to seal, pauses to vacuum out the air, then continues to perfectly seal. When you add it all up, InstaSeal will help you seal and save hundreds on your family's grocery bill. Get the complete InstaSeal system for the special TV discount price of just $99.99. Plus, we'll ship your entire order free. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-308-6802. That's 1-800-308-6802 or order online at buyinstaseal.com.
Ahead on American Sunrise Early Edition, the midterm realities are finally starting to dawn on the GOP, with the White House and even some voices in Congress now putting more of a focus on the key issues, especially inflation and healthcare costs. Those midterms are now less than 11 months away, and I'm laser focused on them from now on. One midterm issue the Democrats are handing the Republicans on a silver platter is illegal immigration. And it keeps getting better as we know now that Illinois under J.B. Pritzker has deliberately released more than 1,700 criminal illegal aliens back onto the streets. Bad for America, but good for the GOP and the polls. The farm vote is another key for the GOP in the midterms, and President Trump is now looking to shore up that vote with a $13 billion bailout plan for farmers struggling under tariff pressure. The Democrats are thinking about the midterms also, but also the 2028 presidential race. And Democrat Pete Buttigieg is testing the waters now. But wait until you hear where he's testing the waters. And speaking of testing the waters, how about the very stormy waters wacko Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett would stir up if she runs for the Senate out of Texas? The chances of that just jumped considerably. American Sunrise Early Edition begins now.
Welcome to American Sunrise Early Edition, the show where faith, freedom, and the values that built this nation take center stage.
Your good deeds and bad deeds, that's how we're going to judge you.
Join host Jake Novak as he breaks down the stories that matter.
We will be letting the public know regularly what we have found.
American Sunrise Early Edition with your host, Jake Novak, starts now.
Welcome, everyone, to this Tuesday here on American Sunrise Early Edition on Real America's Voice. I'm going to give you my big eyes right now because it's 65 degrees colder than where I was just 8 hours ago when I left West Palm Beach, Florida. Now I'm in New York. And again, it's 18 degrees right now as I speak to you. It was 83. My body's having a little bit of a reaction to it. Anyway, but that's the life of doing live news, and I love it. And we've got some very big stories that also get my eyes very wide open this morning because from now on, really, we're less than 11 months away from the big midterm elections, and a lot of America's future and present really, really are relying on what happens in those midterms. So let's talk to someone who's going to be running in one of those midterms, already is really. Joining us right now is North Carolina U.S. Senate candidate, Republican candidate, Don Brown. And Don, you know, when I think of North Carolina, I think of one thing, and I know it's a huge challenge in North Carolina, and we're not happy this is the reality for North Carolinians, but you know, the outrage over crime in North Carolina and the way that your Democrat governor has handled it or not handled it and the way that some of the blue cities like Asheville and Charlotte have handled it, if that becomes more of a national issue, Don, then that's going to be very good for the Republicans because their common sense addressing of crime is going to be really popular in places all over the country.
Yeah, Jake, and good morning to you, and thanks for having me. Listen, we all saw the horrific video a couple of months back of this poor girl, Arena, who was murdered on the Charlotte light rail. I immediately called on President Trump to bring in the National Guard to Charlotte. The Charlotte Police Union joined that call. I'm the only Senate candidate that has done that. But the Democrat city of Charlotte and the Democrat governor have done nothing to really beef up security on the light rail. We had another stabbing just within the last couple of days of an illegal immigrant stabbing another victim on the light rail, and it is a big problem. And part of the problem is not just the Democrat governor, it's the Democrat sheriffs, the Democrat county commission. They have a soft on crime, pro, sort of bring the streets in rather than bring the cops in approach. And it's going to bite them where the sun don't shine before it's over with. We're going to make that an issue in the campaign against Roy Cooper for sure. We already are.
The interesting thing about when governments do things like this, the pushback from some of the leaders in North Carolina, the Democrats especially, from getting help from the federal government. Look, I'm not a lawyer or the greatest legal scholar in the world, but I do know that when people try to sue the government for not protecting them properly and things like that, it doesn't really go very far because there's not a lot of hard evidence of a choice that was being made one way or the other. This could be the exception. The fact that we've had a second stabbing from very similar circumstances, this time a repeat illegal alien, not someone who had, not an American-born person doing it, but it doesn't matter. The fact that they were pushing back on that, and I don't know, I think they might have somewhere to go with that. Now let's stay in North Carolina just for a second, because the guy leaving the Senate to create this vacancy, and this still goes to the crime discussion, Thom Tillis, he's joining a small number of Republicans in the entire Democrat Party in deciding to smear our fighting men and women, deciding to smear our Secretary of War, and smear our president for trying to protect the American people from the massive flow of drugs coming from these Venezuelan drug boats and other parts. There's other ways that drugs get into this country. I acknowledge that. But, it just goes to the whole argument that Thom Tillis has been a Republican, they call it rhino, whatever you want to call it. This has been this has really undermined the president for a long time. Thank goodness he's stepping down. But, this has got to be one of the biggest reasons why you're standing up right now. We got to have someone better than Thom Tillis next time.
Well, it sure is. As a matter of fact, Tillis has had it in for Pete Hegseth. And one of the reasons, in fact, the reason I'm in this race is because Tillis had promised to support the president's nominees coming out of committee. Pete, who I've worked with in the past on rules of engagement issues in the Obama administration defending our soldiers, cleared the Armed Services Committee. Tillis still tried to torpedo him. And for me, that was the straw that brought the camel's back. But look, Jake, Senator Tillis needs to remember that we lost more Americans to 1 year in fentanyl than 10 years in the Vietnam War. Left and right, we hear about kids that are dying from accidental fentanyl overdose. These are weapons of mass destruction. And now that the president has effectively shut down the land border and shut down the Mexican border, what these drug cartels are doing, they're now trying to bring their weapons of mass destruction in by sea. And the president of the United States has every right under international law and the United States Constitution as commander-in-chief in Article 2 to take action to protect Americans. It's gone on since the beginning of the Republic, beginning with President Thomas Jefferson sending the Navy and the Marine Corps into the Mediterranean to attack the Barbary pirates who were attacking American shipping. And it goes on and on and on. So, Tillis has had it in for Pete Hegseth. He's had it in for President Trump. President Trump wanted him out of the race. He's out of the race. And this is a little bit of petty revenge, if you ask me. And that's why Tillis has to go. We don't need any more Thom Tillises in the Republican Party from North Carolina. And that's the reason I'm running. We're going to win this race.
Yeah, I'm going to get back to your race specifically in just a second, but I want to go national just for a moment because there is reportedly a lot of Republican worry party-wide about the failure to get a replacement to Obamacare going. Look, I have been railing against Obamacare since they first came up with that word. It is a lie in so many ways. It has made our health care more expensive. It actually wasn't even health care reform. It was just health insurance reform. It really was Medicaid expansion. That's all about, without creating one new hospital or one new doctor, net new doctor in this country. So how much do you think this is an issue in North Carolina? And would it, how loud of a voice are you going to be in the when some of the other Republican candidates meet in trying to find a replacement bill for this or some kind of replacement policy for this sooner rather than later?
I'm going to be the loudest voice in the United States Senate. I'll be the loudest voice on a campaign trail. Cost of living is an issue. Of course, it's an issue. It's a kitchen table issue, but it's the cost of health care that is the principal problem with the cost of living. I mean, Obamacare, they call it the Affordable Care Act. I call it the Astronomical Cost Act. No American can say that insurance, the health cost is more affordable since this monstrosity has come in. The delivery of healthcare services are better. Exactly the opposite is true. It's got to be busted up. We've got really, this whole thing was just a cabal between the Obama administration and big insurers. We got one insurance company, essentially in North Carolina, Blue Cross. They dominate the market. That needs to be busted up, in my opinion. Folks need an opportunity to go out and shop health insurance rates across the country and not just limited to one monolithic choice. Obamacare has got to be taken out. We have to go back to a system like we had before. There has to be competition in the healthcare industry. And whenever government gets involved in anything, it becomes a colossal disaster. As President Reagan said, we have to get the government off the backs of the people. That's what has to happen in eliminating Obamacare and bringing down the cost of healthcare, which can be done if we have the political fortitude to do it. And I have the fortitude to do it.
Yeah. Supply and demand. You want to change the cost of something, you have to do something with either one of those things. They actually increased demand because more people decided to show up to the hospitals and to their doctors with the belief that they had coverage. But of course, They didn't increase supply one bit. No increase of supply. And the number of hospitals that have consolidated in this country rather than created more hospitals is really alarming at the same time. Anyone who's talking to you about healthcare costs, I don't care how compassionate they say they are, without increasing the supply of healthcare, doesn't know what they're talking about. All right, let's get back to your race in North Carolina, because at the end of the day, you're not naive, Don. You know that it often comes down to personalities. People say, well, I looked at the candidate's qualifications. No one actually does that, not even well-educated people. It has a lot to do with the gut reaction to the personality of the candidate, and hopefully it jives with the issues. And Roy Cooper, for whatever reason, I don't get it, but, listen, I don't get a lot of things. I don't get the Real Housewives show. I don't know anyone watches that stuff, but he has never lost a race. What is it about this guy that wins him votes, and how do you undermine that?
Well, Jake, at least theoretically, he's never lost a race. His race against Pat McCrory is very similar to what we saw in the national election in 2020. Pat McCrory, the former Republican governor, was winning, running away, and all of a sudden, the vote fairy shows up from Durham County, which is the most corrupt Democrat party in the state, in the middle of the night, and Cooper squeaks past McCrory. And I'm not convinced that that one was a real win. But here's the thing about Roy Cooper. He now has a track record that's target rich for us to go after. We're going to do that. He's been the most radical governor in North Carolina history. He shut the state down, destroyed the state's economy, destroyed the school system largely during COVID with all the unnecessary masks and lockdown. For me, Jake, it's personal. I've said this many times, but the last time I saw my dad alive was standing on a cold patch, on a frozen patch in Plymouth, North Carolina, outside, looking through the glass of a nursing home, watching my dying father because of Roy Cooper's unconstitutional mandates. And by the way, I mentioned Arena earlier. On his last day in office, Roy Cooper pardoned 15 animals, just like the animal that murdered Arena, who killed North Carolinians. On his last day out of office, I'm going to chase him all over the state and remind him of every commutation, of every family member that he separated from their dying relatives, of all the lockdowns, of all the North Carolinians damaged by his vaccination and mask policies. We're going to remind him of his record. We're going to take him down. He's very vulnerable. North Carolina now is becoming a Republican majority state. The time is right to put an end to the Roy Cooper era, and we're going to do it.
Yeah, but other than that, he's a great guy. Just kidding. Don Brown, thank you so much for joining us. Stay safe this evening. I know you're going to be driving through some weather. I appreciate it, and we'll speak to you again soon.
You too, Jay. Try to get warm. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, not happening today. All right, coming up, not every McDonald's franchisee gets the sales boost from having President Trump working the drive-thru. Remember that? The rest of the franchisees around the country are about to get a visit of another kind from the central office at McDonald's, and it might be bad news. I will explain. And I have an update on that story I first told you about last week. Why in the world did New York's ABC station suppress its own juicy exclusive about the man who assaulted a female NYU student on the street here on this tape? It's maddening. American Sunrise Early Edition. We'll be right back.
Half protection is not enough. Using just an antivirus online is also not enough. Get better protection from online threats. Get NordVPN now.
Kevin paid off over $12,000 in credit card debt with the help of Consolidated Credit. They cut his interest rates and lowered his payments so he could pay off his debt fast. Call 800-596-8062 for a free consultation.
Attention homeowners. Are you behind on your mortgage payments? Is the bank threatening to take your home? Is your home worth less than you owe? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you need to call this number right now.
Call 800-714-8615.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000, doubling your impact. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you.
Call or scan for your free writer's guide today.
Welcome back to American Sunrise Early Edition. Special welcome to those of you on the Gettr and the Rumble chats and Substack and X. You can also watch live while you comment live, and somebody live is reading it. That would be me. So thank you for doing that. That's a live look at the White House this morning. It's cold there too, but nothing like what I'm dealing with here in New York at about 18 degrees at this moment. Hey, last week I told you about the story of the female NYU student assaulted on the street by a guy who had dozens of arrests, including a murder arrest, in his early years in life. Sad to say, that's nothing new. Like, that really wouldn't make the news, right? Of course, sadly, it wouldn't, and although the video is pretty compelling, and he did it to an elderly woman, the same exact thing a few days before that. But the big part of the story for me was the fact that this guy attacking this girl was living in the same dorm as that young woman, I should say, the NYU student. Now, here's an even bigger scoop. As Emily Finn joins me, and Emily Finn and I are going to give a little bit of a journalism seminar here, a quick one. ABC Channel 7, the local ABC affiliate owned by ABC Disney, had the scoop that I just told you. They were the only ones who had the information that this guy was living in an NYU dorm. That's the most clickable part of the story. I mean, right? I mean, we've seen assaults in New York. We get that. And then they took the entire story down. I thought maybe they had their facts wrong. I called the assignment desk. They said, no, the facts are all the same. And I literally asked them, don't you guys want to have viewers? You have the hottest part of the story, and you didn't just move on to another part of the story. You took it down. Emily Finn, this is really, really fishy. NYU did tell them that this guy was squatting in the dorm. He wasn't living there legally. I don't know if that's true. But whatever. I mean, come on. This is so fishy. I don't understand why they don't want viewers. That's my question.
Fishy is a good word for this, Jake. And I hope that you get a better answer from the assignment desk there at ABC 7 as to why they did take this story down. Because if everything there was factual, it was all reported correctly, then this is something that the parents at NYU, the students that are paying their tuition themselves, they need to know that this is going on. If we needed another reason to not send children to higher brainwashing institutions in this country, I mean, this is just outrageous, Jake. I mean, this person was squatting. We talked about this yesterday for months, for a prolonged period of time, and NYU did nothing about this. They did nothing to keep their students safe. There needs to be answers from not only ABC 7 about the way that they covered this story, but from the university as to why they let this go on.
Well, Emily, I think that I can get to the bottom of this without too much extrapolation. In just a couple of days, the early decision announcements from the elite schools, the tough ones to get in, let's put it that way. I don't know how elite they are, but they're hard to get into, are coming out. Do you think that NYU wants ABC Channel 7, with the biggest audience in America for a local news station, going on about how this kid that you're going to be paying 80 to 90 grand a year for tuition, room, and board at this school has absolutely no security? That's why they don't want that story there. And I'm sure NYU put a huge amount of pressure on Channel 7 here in New York to suppress that story. We're not going to let them get away with it. But that's a lot of money, Emily, to send your kid to basically a halfway house with drug addicts and murderers living next door or upstairs.
As a parent to a student, I'm sure that you want your student to be, or your child to be safe. That is the utmost priority when you send them off to school. And, you know, the whole point is you should be in an environment where you can really focus on your education and focus on just soaking up all of the information around you. You don't need to have threats of illegal immigrants coming up and assaulting you. I mean, it's so sad to see, and I can't believe that in America today, in New York today, we are talking about something like this. The university really needs to get their safety under control.
Yeah, full disclosure, I taught at NYU. I taught broadcast news at NYU for 6 years, broadcast news writing. And I can tell you that about 99.9% of my students, the number one thing for them was the fact that they were in New York City. What school it wasn't as important. The fact that it was in New York City, in a hot neighborhood like Greenwich Village, that's where they wanted to be. And if they lose that cachet, then NYU loses its entire brand. Emily Finn, thank you so much. I'm glad you have a lot of other aspects of your brand, because we're going to see you from the 8 to 10 a.m. hour as well. And we'll see you then. Thank you so much, Emily.
Thank you, Jake.
All right, an organic skincare brand called Purience has been turning heads in Elle, Cosmopolitan, and LA Weekly magazines. To date, they've helped over 60,000 women to fall in love with their skin complexion again. Purience delivers clean, organic skincare without harsh preservatives. Their Cellular Restore Serum features a gentle alternative to retinol called bakuchiol. In a small focus group, 92.9% of women saw fewer wrinkles after just 3 weeks of applying Cellular Restore Serum. Their Cellular Hydration Serum contains tremella mushroom, which hydrates the deepest layers of skin better than hyaluronic acid. Then there's Lift and Glow Organic Eye Cream. They've got a lot of products, folks. If you want to lighten the appearance of dark under eye circles and restore a radiant complexion, then you'll love Lift and Glow. Finally, they have Even Glow Serum. Even Glow features Kataku Plum, which delivers 100 times more concentrated vitamin C than oranges. Even Glow works wonders for reducing dark spot appearance. And right now, for a limited time, you can save 35% on all Purience products. Simply go to Purience.com and enter coupon code EARLY at checkout. That's PUREANCE.com and coupon code EARLY to save 35% on your order today. Coming up, why is Michael Jordan suing NASCAR? And how is this case going now that he's given a very strong performance, not on the court, in the court, on the witness stand? American Sunrise Early Edition. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned to get a free automatic toilet bowl cleaner from Mermaid. Your sink stopper's broken, but fixing a drain is such a pain. Not anymore. Introducing Mermaid Drain Magic, the instant solution to most broken drains. Simply remove and replace. In just seconds, you can fill and drain with a simple press of a button. Drain Magic makes replacing your old, broken, rusty, even missing sink stoppers fast and easy.
Practically took me 5 seconds to replace. It absolutely made my sink look like brand new.
Honestly, I couldn't believe it. How could it work so well, look so good, and install so quickly?
And forget clogging, because Drain Magic's anti-clogging basket helps catch debris before it goes down the drain. When the basket's full, just discard. Helps prevent clogs in your sink by catching hair, food, even jewelry. Drain Magic uses a silicone gasket that creates a watertight seal without messy plumber's putty. Look, this sink was filled hours ago and the water still remains. Press the spring-loaded stopper and the water's gone. Made of brass and finished in high-quality chrome, Drain Magic is rust-resistant and built to last.
It's made out of metal, not plastic, and it actually has some weight to it. Yeah, this is the real deal.
Just looks like a new sink now.
Order your 2-in-1 drain solution, Mermaid Drain Magic, today for only $19.99. And with every order, you're going to get a Mermaid automatic toilet bowl cleaner absolutely free. Just drop it in the tank for up to 3 months of hands-free cleaning. Mermaid's ultra-concentrated formula cleans and deodorizes with every flush. But wait, due to rising costs, this may be your last chance to get Mermaid Drain Magic at this incredibly low price with free Mermaid toilet bowl cleaner. There's a strict limit of 3. Call or click now to order.
call 1-800-519-3206 or visit GetDrainMagic.com. So call 1-800-519-3206 or visit GetDrainMagic.com. Order now.
Oh man, why did I leave Florida yesterday? Not only was it so much warmer and nicer, here we see Gulf Breeze, Florida right now, but I barely made some of my connecting flight, and I was almost going to be stuck in Atlanta and not be able to do the show this morning. Next time, I'm not cutting it that close, and I'll just stay in a place, either my studio here or in Florida, one or the other. Let's take a look at where the markets will begin today. And we have very modest numbers. You know, the Dow was down more than I expected it to be yesterday. 250 points, which these days is not that much of a move down, but still more movement than I thought. I think that the markets are going to be treading water all the way through 2:30 p.m. tomorrow, and I'll tell you why in just a second. But here you see green everywhere. Now let's take a look at Bitcoin. Is it still over 90,000? And yes, it is, but not at the $91,000 mark where it was just yesterday. All right, Mick Jagger saying waiting on a Fed, but that's the song, waiting on a friend, but the song in the markets right now is waiting on the Fed. They're not waiting on any earnings, any corporate news. They're waiting on the Fed because tomorrow at around 2:30, 2 o'clock, 2:30, usually right at the top of 2 o'clock, we're going to hear the decision from the Fed on interest rates. And as I've been saying, it's really an unusual situation. Usually the Fed very much telegraphs what it's going to do. This is a very split Fed right now. I'm really not happy to bet at all. I'm glad I'm not betting on what the Fed's going to do tomorrow because I really don't know. Well, the only thing I know is that they're not going to raise rates. But if you put a gun to my head, I'd say, hey, and please don't. But if you put a gun to my head, I'd say, hey, they're going to leave rates alone. But the markets really want a rate cut. And if they don't get it tomorrow, we could see a pretty steep sell-off, at least in the hours after that decision. But so we'll see. But right now, the markets are waiting on the Fed. And maybe they can get Mick Jagger to sing them a song today while they just sort of tread water. Last week, I told you that we might have a hostile takeover battle, and a really exciting one for Warner Brothers. Well, now it's a reality. Now, you know that on Friday, Warner Brothers accepted the $72 billion offer from Netflix. Paramount Skydance, which started this whole process, started the whole bidding war for Warner Brothers. And it was a lonely bidding war in the beginning. Almost no one else was interested until just about a month ago. Now Paramount Skydance has come going straight to the shareholders with a $79 billion offer. Now, it's not all cash, so it isn't just a $7 billion more valuable offer, apples to apples. But nevertheless, Paramount and David Ellison, the CEO of Paramount Skydance, are not giving up on Warner Brothers. And this is the kind of thing, for those of you who are younger and don't remember the 1980s, this is the kind of thing that we saw a lot in the 1980s. Some very, very exciting takeover battles that went crazy. Read the book or watch the movie if you don't want to see the book. Read the book, Barbarians at the Gate, about the takeover of RJR Nabisco. That's a really cool story. This is a throwback for me. I think this is going to be a battle that's going to go on for a long time. And my guess is that the final sale price is going to be closer to $90 billion for Warner, because that's what happens when you have multiple bidders. All right, attention McDonald's franchisees. If you own a McDonald's, you better be on board with the price-cutting agenda at the company, or else. McDonald's central offices in Illinois say that they are not so sure all the franchisees are following the price-cutting guidelines from that central office. So they're going to come and visit some of these franchises across the country. If you're listening or watching the show from New York, you might be getting a chuckle, because the McDonald's in Manhattan, the many McDonald's franchises that you had in Manhattan in the 1980s, routinely used to charge twice what the other franchises did, until McDonald's central office said, we're going to take your franchise away if you keep doing that. So they have a track record with this. If there are some McDonald's who are not getting on board with the value pricing that McDonald's is willing to do for another year or so, maybe even 2 years, to get their market share back up, then they're going to tell those franchisees, go buy yourself a Burger King or a Wendy's. We don't want you here anymore. This could be a very, very painful process for a number of people who own McDonald's across this country. And I wonder if the folks from the central office are going to be undercover, or if they're going to come in with suits and ties and announce themselves. I can't wait. This could be like a whole real reality show as they go across the country. I'm going to call Bravo now and see if they're interested in it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. This is Moving America, sponsored by Artillery Tea Company. ArtilleryTeaCo.com. Use promo code RAV for 10% off your order. Artillery tea is all natural, whole leaf. The tea bags are chemical free and each tea bag can be used twice. Artillery Tea Company is family and veteran owned and operated, and a portion of your purchase goes to help veteran and first responder charities. ArtilleryTeaCo.com, promo code RAV for 10% off your order. Nothing is more American than Detroit, car shows, and Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg, who was definitely going to be running for president, or at least try to run for president in 2028, has a big announcement. He's going to be giving a major talk at the Detroit Auto Show. It's going to be about technology and stuff like that. Remember, Pete Buttigieg, at least in name only, was our transportation secretary under Joe Biden, even though his only experience with transportation was maybe knowing how many traffic lights there were in South Bend, Indiana, where he was the mayor. It's not exactly a major hub of transportation. I will give him this. On Notre Dame College game days, there is a lot of traffic in South Bend. But other than that, that's about 6 days a year. I don't know what was going on with this guy. Is he a smart guy? Well, he went to Harvard. He did a short period in the U.S. military. He's a nice, young, smiling guy. But I don't know if putting him at the Detroit Car Show to try to make him turn into more of a normal all-American candidate is going to work. I have memories of Michael Dukakis, when he ran for president, sitting in that tank with that helmet on, looking ridiculous. I don't know if this is the right move, but we'll see how this works. He may end up having his campaign ending before it starts. If he ends up standing next to a car and not knowing the difference between a gear shift and a windshield wiper, that could be one of those moments that we remember forever as an embarrassing moment. So that's what I'm looking forward to out of Pete Buttigieg at the Detroit Car Show. Now, first it was a German chancellor, then it was BMW. Now it's the leaders of 6 EU countries, namely Bulgaria, the Czech Republic, Hungary, Italy, Poland, and Slovakia. They're all calling on the EU to can it already with this 2035 deadline to stop all gas-powered car production inside of Europe. This is an unsustainable, unrealistic goal. I don't know why it took so long for corporate and political leaders in Europe to finally stand up to this. But the EU, as many of us have been learning with the way that they're fighting free speech, the EU is basically a dictatorship. And unless the people who make up the EU itself start fighting amongst themselves about things like this, nothing's going to change. Well, in this case, it looks like they are. You've got 6 countries, you have the CEO of BMW, and you also have Germany. That actually makes 7 countries who are looking to end this ridiculous mandate. It's unsustainable. You're going to end up having to spend $200,000 just to buy one of those little European mini cars. This is crazy. At least some of these countries are waking up to it. Hopefully, they'll also wake up to their free speech problems that they have in that continent, because without that, they might have some violent revolutions in some of these countries. It's one thing for France and England to try to clamp down on free speech. People who, like in Hungary and some of these other countries that still remember the communist domination, they're not going to sit for this EU nonsense. Okay, in case you missed it, basketball legend Michael Jordan is in the middle of a lawsuit. He's joining another NASCAR team. Remember, Michael Jordan owns a NASCAR team. So his NASCAR team and another NASCAR team are in the middle of a lawsuit against NASCAR. And more than just the lawsuit, Michael Jordan himself, and I think was a brilliant move by his lawyers, took the stand in that case just on Friday. And on Monday, yesterday, and even early this morning, we're still going over a lot of his testimony. Why is he suing NASCAR? Well, NASCAR is basically a monopoly. And Michael Jordan is arguing that the teams who work with NASCAR, the racing teams, aren't getting enough of an opportunity to share in the profits. Now, he made a great point on the stand on Friday saying, hey, we're not looking to only share in the profits. We will also share in the losses when there are losses in NASCAR. He made a very compelling argument. And remember, most of the jury, at least if they're my age or even a little bit younger and certainly older, remember that Michael Jordan wasn't just the greatest NBA player of all time. I don't even think that's an argument. He's the most competitive athlete I've ever seen, the most competitive person. So when he takes the stand saying he wants to be more competitive, he doesn't want to have a monopoly that doesn't allow for competition, it really holds weight. It's an interesting argument. And by the way, good timing for Michael Jordan. I feel like the years after he left the NBA after 2003 when he left. Those first 10 years or so, his stock went down in popularity. I think it's been going back up lately, especially because of that Last Dance documentary that everyone watched during the COVID lockdown. So good move by his lawyers. I saw his testimony. It was compelling. Okay, now for a public service announcement. It's going to help keep you sane, and I love it. It's a life hack involving dimes and quarters and pennies. You know when you go fill up your car and you're at one of those gas stations where at the pump they play loud commercials and loud so-called news coverage, and it's not really news? Well, there's a guy online who's figured out how if you put coins in those speakers right there, it muffles the sound to the point where you can actually hear yourself think. Memo to gas station owners. Please stop with these videos. They're annoying. It stops people, by the way, from paying attention to pumping their car. They probably end up spilling a lot of gas on the pavement. It's just annoying. I don't think you're getting any extra sales out of it. Please stop. And maybe you can lower the price of gas because you'll no longer be paying for video screens bothering me and yelling at me. Anyway, thanks to that guy for figuring out the life hack. Okay, coming up, getting back to the main theme of this hour, the midterm pressure mounting for the Republicans with fewer than 11 months to go to really make their case to the voters. Someone with very hands-on experience on what's out there will join us when American Sunrise Early Edition comes right back.
What do you do when your tire goes flat and there's no air anywhere to fix that? You reach for Bullseye Pro, the smarter, faster, hands-free way to fill it up with air. Bullseye Pro is equipped with a rechargeable lithium-ion power plant. So fast, so strong, and so convenient. It's like putting the power of an air compressor in the palm of your hand. Look, you can inflate all 4 tires of your car on a single charge, or inflate a bag full of soccer balls at practice. Bullseye Pro is so advanced, it has a built-in smart pressure digital sensor that gauges and automatically stops when the set tire pressure is reached. Plus, it can be 100% hands-free. You simply set the target pressure and walk away, keeping you out of harm's way. Bullseye Pro is lightweight, durable, and powerful enough to inflate this massive monster truck tire. Plus, it has 4 ultra-bright LED lights to safely inflate at night. Bullseye Pro comes with 3 custom air nozzles on board, so you can easily inflate pool toys, exercise balls, and more. Forget driving to the gas station. Bullseye Pro is your anywhere, anytime inflation station. Call or go online now and get the complete Bullseye Pro inflation system, all for the factory direct price of just $79.99. It comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee. Plus, we'll ship your entire order free. That's right, free shipping. But to really inflate this offer, we'll give you a 50% discount on a second one. You get it all. An incredible value for one low price. Call or go online to order now.
To order, call 1-800-976-9718 or go to getbullseyepro.com. So call 1-800-976-9718. That's 1-800-976-9718 or order online at getbullseyepro.com. Order now.
It's Tuesday, December 9th. Here are this morning's top stories. From here on out, this program is going to be very, very much focused on the midterm elections. Those midterm realities are finally starting to dawn on the Republican Party, with the White House and even some voices in Congress now putting more of a focus on the key issues, especially inflation and healthcare costs. Those midterms are now less than 11 months away. That's a very short amount of time politically. The farm vote is another key need for the GOP in the midterms, and President Trump is now looking to shore up that farm vote with a $12 to $13 billion bailout plan for the farmers who are struggling the most under tariff pressure. The Democrats are thinking about the midterms, but also the 2028 presidential race. And Democrat Pete Buttigieg is testing the waters now. But he's testing the waters at the Detroit Auto Show. I don't know if that's a natural fit for this young man. And speaking of testing the waters, how about the very stormy waters wacko Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett would stir up if she runs for the Senate out of Texas? I kind of want this to happen, but I don't want this to happen. The chances of this happening, however, did just jump considerably. American Sunrise Early Edition continues now. I just don't know if gearheads are the target audience for Democrats who are going to vote in the primaries. Maybe in the national election, there's some of them, but I just don't know if Pete Buttigieg going to the Detroit Auto Show is really the best place for him. I don't know what would be the best place for him. Maybe he could go to a book club where he talks about the books that he read and only remembers the one chapter he read. That's a little pet peeve of mine. He read a book called The Power Broker. He says he read it. I think he only read like a half a book and talks about it all the time. That's also about cars and driving. Anyway, I'm getting off the topic. Let's talk to John Reed, who recently ran for lieutenant governor as a Republican in Virginia. He is now the man behind the Reed Revolution. He's also a very, very long serving veteran broadcast newscaster on TV and radio. And John, the issue I brought up in the last half hour, the whole healthcare cost argument, the Republicans have got to get a couple of things done. I know you're very dead set on them getting actual legislation passed to replace Obamacare, but I also think that the messaging has got to get a lot better on this. I think you agree on both of those counts.
Oh, absolutely. Look, we've got about 6 months to get something done here because the midterms will completely overtake all the debate once we get into the summer and start into the fall. And I think, things could change, but I think Republicans should sober up, especially based on what I just went through in Virginia, and recognize that we're probably going to have a really rough time of it next year. So don't get to November of next year and say, oh, my gosh, if we only had another 2 years, we would have gotten something done. I just spent the weekend with 400 Republican activists at a resort here in Virginia trying to, strategize about how to get things done. And they're already losing their patience. And these are hardcore Republicans, people who voted for Trump 3 times, people who never vote Democrat, who are very frustrated because we're not codifying the things that need to be done, especially when it comes to healthcare and some of the other tweaks that I think could lower prices for the average American and win us some goodwill.
Well, I'm a huge advocate of making sure we only make these discussions about healthcare based on the law of supply and demand. And we haven't really had a net new hospital built anywhere in this country in a very long time. We used to talk about this with nuclear power plants, and that's important. But I think hospitals are a little bit more important than that, and we still haven't done that. John, you're also a media guy, and I have to say, I think that a brilliant media campaign about how to take on and help lower the cost of healthcare would really work. If you remember when he was the host of The Apprentice, they used to come back on that show where Donald Trump would do like a 2-minute little lesson. It was a single camera just on Donald Trump, and he'd talk about pricing, or he'd talk about marketing and things like that. It'd be great if he did something like that. I also would like to see some humorous stuff where he just said, like, if you want healthcare costs to go down, you got to increase the supply. And I'm going to make sure that we build hospitals on federal land, which, by the way, we should do, which could be done tomorrow because all those state regulations would be null and void. I also think we have to have some funny ads. Let's hire the person who does those progressive ads about not turning into your parents. You don't want to turn into your parents' Obamacare. We're going to do something. I mean, we got to do something like this, too, don't we, John? We got to have some fun with this and reach people on a basic level.
Yeah, D.C., having been a communications director in the U.S. Senate for a number of years, it's a bubble. So everybody starts talking to each other, and they're very intense on the issues they care about. But they forget that the average American isn't paying attention. They're not reading the 2 or 3 online newspapers in Washington. And so if you don't have a concerted PR campaign to explain what the problem is and articulate what your solutions are, you're going to get your butt kicked. And Republicans really need to get in the game here for the next 6 months and not just talk in that D.C. bubble, but get those messages out to the American public. And, you think back to Ross Perot. This is basic, 1992, where he had those little charts that he would sit in front of. It's always puzzled me why we don't take advantage of that type of basic communication. The average American who works in an office is familiar with PowerPoint presentations. It doesn't have to be 60 slides in a deck, but if you can articulate data, the average American now can absorb that data. And if you offer a solution, I think people are looking for political leaders and government leaders and business leaders who will offer those solutions. Let's do it.
Let's now talk also, got to have some new visuals. But this is something that is an even better, or at least a more impactful visual than even a PowerPoint. And that is an issue that I think the Republicans have a great advantage on. and that's with illegal immigration. You know, we just found out yesterday that people like J.B. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson in Illinois and Chicago, respectively, have released over 1,700 criminal illegal aliens just in the last year alone. I don't think this is even a 50-50 issue in America. I think this is an 80-20 issue in America. And even though it might only be happening in some of the blue cities and blue states, I think that there are a lot of people who might go vote for their local congressional and Senate race based on wanting someone to pass legislation to punish cities and states that do stuff like this. If this is a national issue in the way that it should be next year, then that's going to be good news for the Republicans.
Yeah, the Democrats are really, really reckless. And throughout my campaign, which of course I sadly can't hold up as a successful one, but I do think the messaging that I created was successful to say everyone has to obey the law. Everybody has to obey the law. And, you know, the one thing that concerns me about the way this is unfolding, and I'm in total support of the deportations. I think we sat around for 20 or 30 years and now we've got to do something. And this is the appropriate thing to do, is that we are handing the visual imagery of this conflict to Democrats to use against us. Now, I agree with you. I think most Americans recognize that the reason that housing costs are so high, the reason that there are inflationary numbers that we're seeing is because of the law of supply and demand. And there are too many people who are here who are undercutting the system. And I think it will be better for all of us when we have adjudicated that. But we need to be careful about the way we present this because it could backfire on us and take an issue that I think most people agree with us on and turn it into something negative. Now, let's be honest. It's tough to deal with people who want to go out and behave like rioters and lawbreakers and who don't have any problem, being riotous in the streets. That's a difficult situation. There's no real way to deal with that, make it look nice. So I just think we've got to be assertive and calm. Our leaders need to be calm in the way we present this.
And I hear what you're saying there. I do think, however, that a lot of people look at those riots and they don't care how much of a crackdown there is. They're going to be looking at it saying, like, look at these people who are rioting. But listen, you make a good point. Finally, I want to talk about the enthusiasm gap because my friend Scott Rasmussen has a new poll out. And while he shows that in the generic ballot, believe it or not, right now, the Republicans have a lead in his very reliable polling right now. This is Scott Rasmussen, not Rasmussen Reports, which he started. And that's a great poll also. And they're a regular guest here on Real America's Voice as well. Scott has also a reliable polling company, a new one now, where he shows that while the Republicans are ahead in the generic ballot, Democrats have a slight lead in enthusiasm. 50% of the Democrats he polled say they're really, really excited about voting in the midterms, as opposed to just 48% of Republicans. Now, that's only 2 percentage points, but look at that number. Only 48% of Republican voters, the same people who really crossed a huge line, probably with friends and family, to vote for President Trump last year and do that courageous thing. Only 48% of them are willing to go get excited about voting in the midterms. That, to me, is a red flag.
Oh, it's a big red flag. And look at what happened in Virginia. We had 5 polls leading up to Election Day in November that showed me essentially tied or slightly ahead of my Democrat opponent. And I hate to admit this, but she beat me by 11 points. Now, I still did better than other people on the statewide ballot. But that indicates that there is something going on with Republican voters. I mean, in my case, maybe some people didn't like me or whatever, but it didn't happen in isolation. This lack of enthusiasm from the Republican base was demonstrated in race after race after race. And I saw that Susie Wiles, the chief of staff, said that the president would be out campaigning very aggressively next year, almost as if he personally was running. And of course, his legacy and his ability to get anything done is on the line next year. So I think that's going to be important to get Republicans out to vote. That will motivate the Trump haters, the Democrats, too. But, I'm telling people wherever I go, it is all on the line. If you thought voting for Donald Trump was going to save America, you bought a little bit of time here, but you got to stay in the game. If you get angry about something or you allow other issues to distract you and then you pout and stay at home, you're going to lose your country. That's what's about to happen, and everybody should wake up to it.
Yeah. You got to show up And this is really the issue here. I mean, so far the Trump voters, a good percentage of them have not shown up for midterm and other elections where he's not on the ballot. And the message needs to be sent that if you support this guy and you don't vote for a Congress that will support him, you might as well not have voted for him. It's as simple as that. John Reed, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for being a wise tip of the spear. You've already been through a guy who can really help us avoid the mistakes and some of the problems that the Republican Party could make without your advice. So thank you so much.
Got to stay in the fight. Glad to be with you.
Yeah, it's going to be a fight. 11 months, and this program is going to be laser focused on it, really, from now on. So just get used to it. Coming up, do I want crazy Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett to run for the Senate? Well, from a political and patriotic standpoint, absolutely not. But think of the sound bites. The sound bites, Jake. David Brody and I will wrestle with this ethical dilemma when American Sunrise Early Edition comes right back.
America's in a fight for her soul. Our freedoms are under attack. Our values are being torn down. And the same corrupt elites who built this mess think they can silence us. The patriots who still believe in this country. Not a chance. Here at Real America's Voice, we're standing shoulder to shoulder with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, a movement that says we will not be silenced.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
The voice of millions of patriots who refuse to kneel to tyranny. This is the movement of fighters, men and women who still believe in God, family, and the American dream. The conservative alternative to AARP.
Real rights, they come from God.
If you're ready to stand up and join the fight, go to amac.us/RAV right now. That's amac.us/RAV, because this isn't just about politics. It's about saving America. Faith, freedom, America first. AMAC and Real America's Voice, united for the Republic.
This right here is confidence in a bottle.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face. And what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes. And I did this to my father. We were at home, so we applied it to his under eye bags, and let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view, and now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work after your first application. Call the number on your screen.
Call 1-800-854-0295.
It's a live look at the White House this morning, but let's go to our live studios, our beautiful RAV studios in Washington, D.C., where Dr. Gina Loudon is going to join me this morning. And I'm really glad that I have Dr. Gina, because I think you're more of a Zen master, Zen mistress, whatever we call it. Dr. Gina, I need you to help me appeal to my better nature, because as a patriot and politically, I don't want Jasmine Crockett anywhere near the U.S. Senate. I want her out of Congress. She's not, sometimes we get a chuckle out of the stuff she says, but she's kind of scary. But at the same time, Dr. Gina, if she runs for the Senate from Texas, which looks like it definitely is going to happen now, think of the sound bites. The sound bites we're going to get daily, Dr. Gina. They're going to be crazy as a news person. I mean, help me. I have a devil and an angel on my shoulder. Like, I don't know what to do. Please help me. Help me make the right decision here.
So what you're saying is that you get to decide if she does this or not, and you can't decide because you would so enjoy the candidacy because it would be such entertainment value. But God forbid, right? Just God forbid, like there's an earthquake or something, and somehow she gets in there. That's your dilemma.
That's the dilemma. I know you probably shouldn't roll the dice like this. But I mean, and by the way, there were a lot of left-wingers. Remember when Donald Trump first announced he was running, and people like John Oliver were like, yes, this is going to be great. And they actually think that their hope for better TV was the reason why he won, which is another reason why they don't understand America. But I feel like I don't want to make that same mistake, at least not, on TV.
Well, I think that there is, first of all, a huge contrast between the distance of the electorate from a Donald Trump and a Jasmine Crockett, especially in Texas. And I really think that as time goes by, it will prove that you are safe to enjoy the entertainment value. I mean, look, we're news people, Jake. This is what we do. We enjoy, rich news. And God knows her candidacy would be rich.
It's one of those things where we look at people running for office, but I think that this is an interesting story in Texas because we both know that for so many decades now, this is not even a new thing. The Democrats have been salivating over the idea of getting a Democrat elected to the U.S. Senate in Texas. They've come close a couple of times, most notably in the Ted Cruz, Beto O'Rourke election in 2018. That was a close one. But at the end of the day, and even with all the illegal aliens that got into Texas under Joe Biden and Obama and things like that, I don't think they can flip Texas in a statewide race just yet. But that they think that with John Cornyn probably getting toppled in a primary, they think they've got a chance. Am I right to feel confident that it's not going to happen this time?
I mean, I never want to be confident in any election. I think you go into it thinking you have to do absolutely everything. But I think this all rests in the hands of Texans and what they want to do about election fraud. How far do they want to take those laws? Because if the Democrats can steal it, Jake, they can win it, right? So that's where we have to be very careful.
Yeah, that's the Democrat motto. Instead of "if you build it, he will come," if you can steal it, you can win it. That should be like Field of Screams. That's what we'll call that movie. Anyway, Dr. G is going to be with us for the next 2 hours on American Sunrise. We'll join you for.
American Sunrise is a great way to start your morning. Join us Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We've got the news of the day and some compelling interviews that you don't want to miss. Here's what you missed from yesterday.
Let's go to this headline here. Republicans divided over whether to salvage Obamacare or replace it ahead of the subsidy deadline. So what's your take here? Because some say the law is not going to go away anytime soon. Are Republicans divided on health care, and what's the road forward?
Well, I wouldn't say we're divided on health care. I would say that there's a lot of different ideas that are out there floating. Last week, the speaker indicated that early this week, we're going to see something that we're going to be able to really get the conversation going in a strong way. I think when you think about the subsidies, you've got to remember those subsidies were a COVID era. They were pandemic subsidies. No Republican has ever voted for us to continue or think about those subsidies.
Congressman, that's the Charlotte skyline behind you, if I'm not mistaken. So let's just have a conversation about that. You took to X the other day writing, "Meet the illegal alien charged with stabbing someone on a Charlotte light rail last night." The guy we're looking at here, this is Oscar Solorzano. He's previously deported and then returned to the country illegally. He, of course, is now charged with attempted murder. Is it about time to bring the National Guard to Charlotte, to the Queen City?
We made that request some time ago of the governor that he bring the National Guard in so that it would help deal with the fact that we were 273 or 75 policemen short of being able to adequately police the city. The National Guard would be able to provide that support so that the police can do the things that they need to do. All of the public is crying out that something's got to happen with our light rail as far as security is concerned.
The $72 billion deal, Jake, would give Netflix control of HBO Max, the DC Comics universe, and more. Actually, there's a lot more involved in this. Reports that the Trump administration is viewing this deal with some heavy skepticism, notably so. How do you see this going forward? What's going to happen here? There's a lot of real sort of concern about this.
I don't think Warner Brothers wanted to sell itself to anyone who wasn't left of center because they want to kill CNN. Let's be honest. This is a lot. I saw CNN talking about the story this morning, and Brian Stelter looked like he was on the electric chair. I mean, he knows what's going to happen to CNN. And you give it over to Reed Hastings, who's the CEO of Netflix, who was a big Democrat donor, not just a Democrat. He puts his money where his mouth is. Who's going to say, oh, it's a conservative conspiracy to get rid of CNN? I think that was a big reason why they chose Netflix.
Guys,
Guys, if you plan to retire in the next 20 years, or if you've already retired, I have a message for you that you need to hear. Central banks, BRIC nations, and our allies are pumping trillions of dollars back into America. But every dollar they send could make your savings worth less. Hi, I'm Donald Trump Jr., and I just want you to be prepared for the future. So protect your hard-earned savings with gold. A gold IRA from my trusted friends at the Birch Gold Group offers you the safety net of gold with the tax advantage status of a retirement account. To see how it's done, click the link below to get a free info kit on gold IRAs. This kit reveals why gold IRAs are exploding in popularity, so do it now. What do you have to lose? It's free and there's no obligation. Click the link below to get your free info kit from the Birch Gold Group.
Do you suffer in pain? Are you stiff, tense, or less active than before? Introducing the EasyWell Remedy Massage System that combines the incredible effects of vibrational therapy, targeted deep tissue shiatsu massage, plus soothing infrared heat. A triple fusion of therapeutic experiences. Full body vibrational therapy increases blood circulation and reduces inflammation. Look at these beads moving from the powerful vibrational motors.
It's like 1,000 little fingers just vibrating my body from head to toe.
Infrared heat penetrates deep to reduce pain, soothe, and relax.
Remedy gets in there and helps deal with the source of the pain, so you feel much better.
The Ultra Shiatsu pillow with 6 infrared heated nodes mimics a professional massage. Plus, it's detachable for deep relief anywhere you need it.
It's just something that you're gonna have to feel for yourself.
Experience the true remedy for your pain and stiffness. Call now.
Ahead on American Sunrise, more and more details are coming out regarding the GOP's alternative health care plan to Obamacare. So, what will this proposal ultimately mean for your health and, more importantly, your pocketbook? Missouri Congressman Mark Alford will be here with his take from Capitol Hill. Plus, the defense spending bill is out. Ahead, the parts of President Trump's agenda that it codifies and the very latest on Congress's efforts to pass all 12 appropriations bills. And then later, ending the Russia-Ukraine war. President Trump claims that Volodymyr Zelensky hasn't even read the latest proposed peace plan. Those stories and so much more right now on American Sunrise.
Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics.
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrence.
And I'm Dr. Gina. I'll tell you what, good morning. I'm Dr. Gina. We are live with you from Washington, D.C. I want to bring in Terrence Bates in our Denver newsroom and Emily Finn in our West Palm Beach studio. David Brody is out today. Good morning to both of you. I was just going to say, no matter what kind of a night I have, no matter how early this morning comes, it is so great to wake up to our fun people in our chat. I love them so much. So good morning to all of you out there in the chat.
Good morning, Dr. Gina. Emily, good morning to you, and definitely a good morning to the chat. One of the things I'll concur with you, Dr. Gina, about the chat is it really feels like family. It feels like we're in community, whether we agree, whether we disagree, whether we have these conversations that enlighten all of us. It's always fun and always an enlightening time to be in the chat. So I'm 100% on board with you on that.
Oh, absolutely.
Certainly
good morning
is.
to you, Terrence. Good morning, Dr. Gina, and good morning to everyone in the chat. I love reading all of your comments, so get in there and tell us everything that you're thinking throughout the show.
Yep.
There you go. In fact, one of the things you may want to talk about in the chat today is President Trump's upcoming road trip. USA Today has this headline, which reads, Trump heads to Pennsylvania battleground to talk up his economy. He'll be speaking at the Mount Airy Casino Resort in Mount Pocono, Pennsylvania. That will be this evening. Affordability is what he's going to be talking about specifically. Of course, it's a major concern for many Americans. President Trump, in fact, blaming Democrats for the affordability crisis here. This is really an issue, and it's an issue that I think a lot of people are going to be campaigning on, Dr. Gina, in this upcoming midterm.
Yeah, well, I love his responsiveness here. It was the American people who said, yes, we really do love that you want to be the peace president. We love that you've ended wars. We love that you're out there really working on fixing all of the international crises created by the last administration and actually several just our whole really military industrial complex. And we love that you're doing that, but we need some things here at home too. And he heard that, and he is setting his sights now on focusing on the economy. And I appreciate that, Emily, because I think that Americans want to feel it all in their wallets, because if we're not feeling safe and secure here at home financially, then it's hard for us to focus on what's going on abroad.
Absolutely, Gina. I don't think there's anything more motivating for voters to get out to the polls, as Terrence brought up with the midterms, than their wallets not feeling secure. So I think affordability is something that this administration certainly needs to focus on. Great that there is peace all throughout the world, and President Trump is working very hard on those negotiations. But at the end of the day, the American people, when they wake up in the morning and they're trying to figure out how they're going to put food on their table, how they're going to balance their budgets, affordability is going to be the key thing that drives voters to the polls.
Yeah,
kitchen table issues. It's something I'm excited to talk about throughout the day throughout the morning, Dr. Gina. I apologize. Would you get us to our Bible verse? I can't speak, Dr. Gina. You just take over the show, please. I'm going to sit out for the next 15 minutes until I can get my brain in line with my mouth.
All right, well, maybe this will help. T, we have Psalm 9, verse 10 today. And those who know your name will put their trust in you. For you, Lord, have not forsaken those who seek you. So continue to seek him all day today. Let's turn to the state of our health care. House GOP lawmakers say they are working on a new plan to drive down those crazy insurance costs for the American people. Reports are surfacing saying the plan calls for expanding health savings accounts so more people can use them, not just those with high deductible plans. Additional targets, including reforming pharmacy benefit managers to lower prescription drug prices, also important. For insight, we want to bring in Missouri Congressman Mark Alford. Congressman, it is interesting watching this healthcare stuff, and I happen to be biased toward Missouri. I'm very proud to tout the accomplishments of my husband, who was in the Senate there, and fixed some things while he was in the legislature there. But Congress needs to put some things in place for states that don't have the ruggedness, I just want to say, of the show me state. What do you say?
Well, look, Dr. Gina, yeah, John did a lot of great work when he was in our state Senate. Very proud of the work he did. We have a real chance here to make some meaningful reforms to a broken system that the Democrats created some 15 years ago and really had to prop up with these COVID-era tax credit subsidies that have been flowing into insurance companies, the money not going to the individuals. That's one of the things we want to change. We want to make sure that there are meaningful reforms that reduce waste, abuse, and fraud in the system. About 7% of Americans are on the marketplace right now, ACA, the Unaffordable Care Act. That's about 24 million people. Only 12 million people since the inception have taken advantage of the services that the taxpayer money is going into the insurance companies to pay these subsidies. So the insurance companies are making money. Half the people are not receiving benefits from the ACA. We want to raise the income threshold for people being able to receive these benefits. Right now, it's almost $700,000 you can earn and still be on the marketplace. There are some meaningful reforms that we can make. And today, folks are going to be meeting leaders of different committees And leaders in our party are going to be meeting with Steve Scalise, I think, in his office, talking about these reforms. What is the plan? We have been workshopping for several weeks now the different plans and some of the possibilities to create meaningful reform for the American people. We are going to get this done. We are going to vote on this before we go home for Christmas.
It sounds like that plan is certainly coming together, Congressman. I also want to talk to you about the defense spending bill that just came out of the House. The more than 3,000-page bill calls for $901 billion in defense spending, which is $9 billion more than President Trump wanted. It also codifies at least 15 of Trump's executive orders, including those on the Golden Dome, more physical barriers at the border, and deploying more troops to the border. Congressman, $901 billion is just an unfathomable number to me. Walk us through how important this bill is, and are you concerned at how expensive it's going to be?
Well, look, no, I'm not. We need to invest in our military to help rebuild what Joe Biden tried to break through DEI, CRT initiatives, and just a lack of funding. We are so far behind the Chinese right now when it comes to shipbuilding. We are ahead of them in submarines and other defenses. But look, we could, I hate to say this, and Terrence has heard me say this before, as Dr. Gina has, we could be at war with China by 2027. That's 2 years off. I certainly hope not, but we have to catch up to their capabilities. We are ahead of them in some areas that I can't go into, but we've got to make these investments. One thing that I'm really concerned about, though, Emily, is this added $400 million for Ukraine assistance. I don't like any more money going to Ukraine. There's been a lot of fraud involved on that side. You just saw the stories that have been breaking with the former chief of staff for President Zelensky. That's very troubling for the American people. People in my district in Missouri said, hey, why are we spending money to help secure their border when we're not securing ours? President Trump has secured our border now, so maybe that's going to change some of the attitude. We've got to make sure, though, that any more money invested in Ukraine is going to where it should go.
Congressman, give us some inside baseball on how the negotiations and debates are going relative to all of the appropriations bills that need to be passed here within the next 20-plus legislative days. And beyond that, what is your sense in terms of getting this all done before this current CR ultimately runs out?
Yeah, I think we have like 21 days, legislative days left until the continuing resolution expires on January 30th. We're going to get this done. We have 3 done that were passed the continuing resolution that opened back up the government. So we have 9 left, Terrence. We are going to put these together in what are called mini buses. This is not going to be one huge bill that no one reads before they vote on it. It'll be digestible, it will be understandable, and it's going to be something that I think we can get. I know we'll be able to get 60 votes in the Senate. If not, there's no purpose in doing it. But I know Tom Cole, our chair of the Appropriations Committee, has been working overtime with his partners over in the Senate to make sure that we get these bills passed and on the president's desk in time.
Congressman, just to follow up, though, these mini buses, as you've described them, are they going to rein in spending? Are they ultimately going to help us cut our current deficit? Because it seems to me that anything else is futile.
Terrence, you're exactly right. With $38 trillion in debt, we have to start whittling it down. In the Appropriations Committee, the 12 that came out of committee this summer, there were cuts in all of them except for Department of Defense, Homeland Security, and Military Construction and Veterans Affairs, which we needed a boost in those numbers. But there are significant cuts, including the committees that I'm on, 4 subcommittees. We have made significant cuts. Now, in the House, you're going to have the most conservative version. Once you get over to the Senate, they're going to want to spend more money. And so we'll see what they come back with. But I am almost positive there will be some level of cuts in spending to these remaining 9, or I don't think you'll be able to get the 218 votes on the House side to approve these.
Congressman Alford, always there fighting. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Congressman.
All right, coming up, we check out the hottest headlines from the Wrap Newsroom with T. Bates. And later, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the second phase of the Gaza peace plan is coming soon. But what are the holdups? We have expert analysis just ahead here on American Sunrise.
Hi there, I'm Dean Heskin, President and CEO of Swiss America. Do you know which investment has outperformed almost every other asset class since the beginning of last year? And that Goldman Sachs research is now forecasting to reach further heights. That's right, it's gold. Central banks around the world continue to buy gold at record levels due to economic turmoil, foreign conflicts, and a weakening U.S. economy plagued by debt. If you're concerned how to protect yourself as our financial system weakens, our team at Swiss America has a solution. For over 40 years, we've helped people just like you purchase precious metals for home delivery and for your IRAs. Don't miss out before this next big price jump. Call or text Swiss America at the number on your screen to receive your free portfolio review and a copy of The Timeless Truth About Gold and Silver. Let us show you how easy it is to safeguard your money. Call or text Swiss America today.
Who wants to drag out a bulky vacuum? Introducing Horsepower Duck, a super compact vac with ultra powerful suction. Clean up that mess in the kitchen, the spill on the sofa, even sawdust in the workshop. Just duck it up. The compact design can reach the tightest places, so store it in any drawer where it's always at your fingertips. You can even store it in your glove box for the ultimate car vac. The HEPA filter helps remove dust and allergens. Plus, it dumps out with ease, so it's ready to clean again. Get the Horsepower Duck handbag for just $39.99. Order right now and we'll upgrade you to the Duck Pro package, a $30 value, yours free. You get the bendable tube, the crevice nozzle, and the soft brush nozzle, but supplies are limited, so there's a strict limit of 3 ducks per order. This may be your last chance to get yours at this low price, so don't delay. Duck it up today.
Call 1-800-693-3440 or visit duckback.com. So call 1-800-693-3440 or visit duckback.com now.
This news break is brought to you by AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Emily Finn. Coming up, President Trump has touted his deal-making skills to end wars around the world. One of them was the conflict between Thailand and Cambodia. But could that deal be on the brink of collapse? We're going to take a closer look at that. First, Terrence Bates is standing by with the latest headlines from the Real America's Voice newsroom, all sponsored by AMAC.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
President Trump is out with a $12 billion bailout for American farmers who are affected by the trade war with China due to increased tariffs. The commander-in-chief announcing the move during a roundtable discussion with farmers at the White House on Monday.
These direct payments will give producers the breathing room they need to market this year's harvest and plan for next season. This serves as a liquidity bridge during a period of adjustment, supporting the strongest agricultural sector in the world. Add this to the president's success in reining in Biden-era inflation, thanks to the administration's pro-growth policies. Input costs like fuel and fertilizer are easing, and credit conditions are improving. Interest rates are coming down, helping farmers prepare for the next harvest.
Farmers will find out by the end of the month how much their individual checks are going to be. Those payments then are set to start coming in by the end of February. The conservative majority on the U.S. Supreme Court appears ready to uphold President Trump's firing of Federal Trade Commission member Rebecca Slaughter. A ruling in favor of the president would give an historic boost to presidential power and reverse 90-year-old legal precedent. For decades, the heads of independent government agencies have had tenure which protects them from being fired for political reasons. However, the Trump administration argues the tenure protections from Congress illegally encroaches on presidential powers under the Constitution. As such, the Solicitor General representing the administration is calling for the High Court to overturn the 1935 case that created the current precedent and constrains presidential power by protecting the heads of independent agencies from removal. Recovery is currently underway in Japan after a massive 7.5 magnitude earthquake. Now that's some shaking. At least 33 people hurt as a result of this tremor. What's even more shocking, though, is the tsunami warnings that were triggered for the area. We're going to show you some of that video here. Look at this, folks. Some areas saw water quite literally wash away cars and spill well over their banks. The U.S. Tsunami Warning Center in Hawaii warns of, quote, hazardous waves in the forecast for Japan as aftershocks are expected. Look at that video. That's crazy. That's a quick check of your headlines. Let's get a quick check of your forecast now with Weather Nation meteorologist Tracy Anthony. We're also going to put up this QR code here at the bottom of your screen. Be sure to go ahead and scan that and join our friends over at Weather Nation. I'm not so sure I've ever seen that sort of video, Tracy. I don't know if you had a chance to see it, but that was definitely an impressive earthquake that rocked and shook Japan.
I was just staring at it as well, and just thinking it's crazy now with cell phones and everybody can take videos. The type of videos we get and see, I've never seen anything like that either. That'd be very, very scary.
Absolutely. What's our local forecast or national forecast looking like? Local for me here in Denver. See, I feel like since I've got you at my beck and call, I can always kind of have a forecast for me on call, but it really isn't just about me. It's about the whole country.
Yeah, you know, and you're going to be pretty calm and quiet, but the mountains may have a little snow, but it's mainly across the northern tier of the country that we're staying active. Across the south, relatively calm and quiet, but several systems will move onshore across the Pacific Northwest and eventually move across the Great Lakes in the Northeast. So that's round one of snow that we've got moving through the Great Lakes. We also have more rain and snow for the Intermountain West and the Northern Rockies. So areas like Seattle, Portland, and that stretch of I-5 picking up 5 to 6 inches of rain just throughout the day yesterday. So we have an atmospheric river that's going to continue this week. So that's going to bring some major impacts. The other thing we're feeling really across the country is some brutal cold temperatures, and those temperatures are going to stay extremely chilly as we have several clipper systems that reinforce that cold air. So New England waking up to temperatures either sub-zero or in the single digits. Wind chills will be even cooler. So, you know, the video that I had for you, Terrence, it's not as cool, you know, and, you know, the video you showed is very devastating, but this one, maybe it's a little more lighthearted, so everyone will enjoy it a little more. We've got some otters playing in the snow, so kind of change the tune a little bit. Isn't that cute?
That is super cute. Okay, see, so now it's a challenge. Now, every day we're going to have to see who has the best video.
Who gets the best video?
You just created a challenge. Yeah, best video. Like, but it's hard to challenge TT, touchscreen Tracy. It's hard to challenge you when it comes to video. That is
Yep, I got
cool.
a bunch of them right here in my toolbar.
Okay. All right. Very good. Tracy, always good to see you. We'll check in with you next hour for our hometown forecast. Looking forward to that. Once again, folks, just log on to our various social media accounts, Gettr, Rumble, YouTube. Let us know where you're hanging out, and who knows, you may be one of our lucky viewers to get a hometown forecast from Tracy. Up next, though, President Trump versus President Zelensky. Why President Trump says that Zelensky hasn't read the proposed peace plan to end the war with Russia. When can we see a deal to end that war? We'll have the very latest ahead. First, though, a quick look at this day in history. It was on this date in 1965 that the first animated Peanuts TV special, A Charlie Brown Christmas, premiered on CBS. It was 1965. The producers at CBS and CBS executives predicted that the show would be a flop due to its slow pacing, the use of jazz score, and the absence of a laugh track, which of course was standard for cartoons at that time. They couldn't have been more wrong, though. A Charlie Brown Christmas was a massive success. It pulled in a 50 rating share, meaning that half of all U.S. households with a television watched it during its premiere. The special also went on to win a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Children's Program back in 1966. Considering that its consistent popularity and annual re-airings across multiple networks for over 5 decades, the cumulative number of viewers is undoubtedly in the hundreds of millions, if not billions, but an exact figure can't be provided.
was born with idiopathic infantile scoliosis. I've had 17 surgeries.
I was born missing my lower right foot.
I was born 10 weeks early without my left arm.
I have osteogenesis imperfecta. I've broken over 70 bones in my lifetime.
With my polio, I have tough days and my pain just pops out of nowhere. There's nothing to be afraid of because all the doctors are all so nice.
Most people think, oh, it's the medical side of things at Shriners Hospital, but for me, it's the confidence that I've gotten.
When somebody sees these commercials, there'll be a phone number on the screen, and all they have to do is call and make a donation to help kids like me.
Thanks to a generous donor, your gift will have 3 times the impact to help more kids.
When you join with us, we'll send you one of these adorable blankets as a thank you and a reminder of all the abilities you are helping make possible.
We have so much to celebrate this time of year.
Please call or go to loveshiners.org. Your first gift of $19 a month will have 3 times the impact in the lives of kids like me.
You are the best you because Shriners has given you the confidence that you need.
It's just really cool knowing that you're part of something bigger than yourself.
Shriners has given so much to us, and we have a mission and we have a goal that we want to help more kids.
From all of us at Shriners Hospitals for Children, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas! Please call the number on your screen or go to loveshiners.org. If operators are busy, please call again. And when you become a monthly donor, your first gift will have 3 times the impact to help more kids.
Thank you for giving.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Emily Finn. President Trump is claiming Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has not read the proposed peace plan. Trump said he is a little bit disappointed and added that Zelensky's team loved it. This comes after U.S. officials met with Ukrainian officials in Miami for another round of talks, but they did not come away with a deal. Some of the main sticking points remaining are the Donbass region and a key nuclear power plant in southern Ukraine. For more, let's bring in retired Navy captain, GOP strategist, and California State Senate candidate, Armin Kurdian. Armin, how concerning is all of this to you that Zelensky hasn't even read this yet?
Good morning, everybody. Well, I know what Trump has said, that a lot of Zelensky's folks tend to like it. I don't know if that's actually the case. Zelensky's had a lot of turmoil lately in his cabinet. You know, he sacked his chief of staff. And then the U.S. came out with their new national security strategy, which really emphasized a lot more reliance on Europe to actually go out and manage its affairs. So Zelensky's trying to balance a lot of things right now. I think a lot of folks in the U.S., including he's even had some questions from Republicans in the House on the new national security strategy, concerned that Putin will just use this time to wait for somebody else to come into office before he starts it as war again. Right now, that war between Ukraine and Russia has just turned into a meat grinder. Ukraine has really fortified their positions, made it impossible for Russia to advance. Russia's losing a lot more soldiers. Zelensky's best hope, their only hope, is that Russia will simply exhaust itself before coming forward. There's a lot of dynamics that are in play right here. Obviously, both of these sides continue to kill each other at a horrible pace. And the amount of money that's being spent in this is astronomical. This war that should never have started in the first place because of actions or inaction under the Biden and Obama administration going back a little over 10 years. So this is going to continue. It's going to be a very, very slow process. But I think if Trump isn't going to supply the level of weapons that Ukraine needs, perhaps if Europe does, and now they're nearing the production of Russia in terms of drones and artillery, and providing that to Zelensky, perhaps that might be the impetus that Putin needs to say, look, I'm not going to be able to get any more, and Europe is serious. I'm not going to be able to take any more territory, and this might be the best deal that I can get.
Armed border clashes have again erupted between Thailand and Cambodia. Thailand has launched airstrikes along that disputed border of concern. This comes just weeks after a peace deal that was orchestrated by President Trump had promised to end that war between the two nations. One Thai soldier, of course, dead, and multiple civilians in Cambodia killed or wounded. Many fear that this Trump-brokered ceasefire could absolutely collapse at this point. What do you make of this situation?
This is a long-standing border dispute between these two countries, and both are saying that you started first, and maybe that both sides are actually true. Mines have been laid in that area that are very old, that have been around. A soldier, I believe a Thai soldier, was killed by mines. Saying you laid this mine. No, this is from a previous conflict. So, I mean, this little flare-up, I actually genuinely believe that this may calm back down again. That Trump may get involved and say, "Look, guys, stop shooting at each other." And hopefully we'll be able to solve this. It's going to require a little bit more of a negotiated settlement. The previous deal was a ceasefire. It seemed like it was going to hold for a while, but then it just takes one person's action or accident to flare things back up again. I don't know that necessarily either one of these countries has an appetite for a long fight, and I would be surprised if this increases in scale over the next week or so.
What you're describing as a flare-up really puts into perspective anything that happens between Israel and Hamas. Later on this month, we're expecting that Bibi Netanyahu is going to visit President Trump at the White House. In the meantime, the BBC is out with this headline, which reads, Israel's PM says second phase of Gaza peace plan is close. Benjamin Netanyahu saying that key issues still need to be resolved. Israel, by the way, would have to withdraw troops further from Gaza, and Hamas obviously would have to continue disarming, or at least even start the process. There are people who question whether they've even started the process. How do you see all of this playing out? Is this a positive sign in your mind?
A little bit more positive than negative. In the areas that the Israeli military has withdrawn from Gaza, Hamas has kind of reestablished itself as the controlling authority, and nobody wants Hamas in charge of the Gaza Strip. That is simply a non-starter for peace. And if Hamas doesn't lay down its weapons or give up control, Israel is not going to leave, and I wouldn't expect them to either. Israel is bringing in a lot more aid into the area, and the last remaining dead hostage, the remains are being searched for, located to be returned back to the Israeli government and the Israeli people. This is going to be a very long process. But Hamas cannot be in charge of the Gaza Strip anymore. It's simply that's simply the case, and the international community recognizes that, and it's going to require a lot more pressure from the Middle Eastern countries, the Arab League, in order to make sure that actually happens. I do believe Israel wants this conflict to end. I don't think they necessarily want to keep fighting in that sense, but they also understand that if these basic conditions are not met, that this is simply going to reignite in the future, that somebody's going to cause something, or there'll be more attacks against Israel. Hamas needs to lay down, freeze, store its weapons. They need to be put aside, and there needs to be at least some sort of international force to at least monitor the situation. Are you going to forcibly disarm Hamas? I don't know if that's going to happen either. So there's still a lot to be done right here, but at least the killing is stopped.
Armin Kurdian, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Armin.
Have a great day.
Coming up, for some, the cold weather can make joint pain that much worse. But how can people minimize these issues? We have some tips straight ahead on American Sunrise.
It's just like our new house. I hope you have an American Home Shield warranty. Leaky toilet? Fixed. Oven beyond repair? If AHS can't fix your covered item, then replace it, no matter its age. Sign up today at ahs.com.
Joining us is Dr. Drew from the Wellness Company with advice for dealing with seasonal colds and flu. Doctor?
Cold and flu season is here, and every year you or a loved one gets sick. Your doctor can't see you. Waiting in a crowded urgent care is brutal. This is a particularly bad cold and flu season, and it's why doctors suggest every family needs an emergency medical kit. Your medical emergency kit is filled with essential prescriptions. It includes antibiotics like generic Z-Pak to get well faster, amoxicillin for pneumonia, strep throat, ear infections, plus prescriptions for nausea and UTIs, and even ivermectin. It's easy. Just match your symptoms to the prescription in your guidebook or call the telemedicine doctor standing by. Take your medication early and feel better faster. Having a medical emergency kit is like having an urgent care in your home. No waiting to see a doctor, no lines at the pharmacy.
Smart advice. We've shared the website and discount code below to save viewers $45. Order now and your kit will be rushed to your door. Thank you, doctor.
Kevin paid off over $12,000 in credit card debt with the help of Consolidated Credit. They cut his interest rates and lowered his payments so he could pay off his debt fast. Call 800-596-8062 for a free consultation.
The bathroom of your dreams is only a phone call away with BCI Bath and Shower. We can make your ordinary bath and shower extraordinary. This is not a cookie cutter design. This is a complete custom build that will fit your every need, and discounts for seniors and military.
Attention homeowners. Are you behind on your mortgage payments? Is the bank threatening to take your home? Is your home worth less than you owe? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you need to call this number right now.
Call 800-714-8615.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. G. Thank you for joining us today. It's time now for our health news. It is sponsored by the Wellness Company. And under the microscope today, some ways to relieve that joint pain that can often get worse during the cold winter months. Keep warmth with layers. I'm learning this really fast as I'm here in Washington, D.C. You forget how to do cold when you live in Florida. It's the funniest darn thing. But thermal clothing, socks, gloves, multiple layers, as we said, use heating pads or warm baths for quick relief on joints. Stay active with gentle stretching, yoga, or light walking to keep your muscles flexible and your joints lubricated. Stay anti-inflamed. Eat anti-inflammatory foods like fish, nuts, vegetables with omega-3s. Take your vitamins. Don't forget to stay hydrated. Even when it's cold, you got to keep hydrated. That will keep inflammation down. And to expand on this, we want to turn to the Chief of Disaster and Emergency Medicine for the Wellness Company, Dr. Kelly Victory. I'll tell you what, Chief of Disaster Medicine, I'm here in Washington, D.C. It is colder than a Dickens out here, and that is a disaster to me. What is your best advice for folks with inflammation during weather-driven times like this?
Well, thanks for having me, Gina. Unfortunately, arthritis is such a common problem, and it's increasing in incidence year after year, in part because of our changes in dietary habits, as well as how we live our daily lives. There are things that people can do, however, to relieve that joint discomfort. Many people choose to take oral medications, but unfortunately, they can have long-term side effects, so it's really not a great way to approach arthritis because you may have to take those medications for many, many years. Arthritis,
okay, so you're talking about like anti-inflammatories, those kinds of things. You're saying they might help in the minute. They do have bad side effects that we're learning more and more about. And as you said, then it's not going to help you long term. So the best thing is to actually take the steps to reduce the inflammation, right?
Exactly. And one of the things that limits side effects is to use a topical medication. And there are many that we are discovering now, including ones that incorporate peptides, small chains of amino acids that go right to the source of the inflammation. And if you combine those with some herbal things like menthol, camphor, eucalyptus, the sorts of things that actually will relieve the immediate symptoms, you can not only get immediate relief of the pain, but start to create some real healing of the tissues themselves with those peptides.
Yeah, and I absolutely love the new product put out by the Wellness Company. I use it for migraines because I get migraines and I can start to feel the tension in my my neck area, my back area, and I'll use it there and can sometimes actually thwart a migraine with it. But that is because of these deep penetrating peptides. Explain to us how that works and why that works better than, say, just taking a bunch of Advil or some sort of pain reliever.
Well, as I said, medications that you take orally can cause a lot of systemic side effects in the long term. Using a topical like TheraBlue, which includes those peptides, they actually get to the source of the inflammation directly rather than having to go throughout your entire body. And you can get some healing of those tissues as well as an immediate decrease in inflammation. Peptides help to modulate many, many different biologic processes, including inflammation and immune response. So by combining the peptides with methylene blue, another very powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory, along with those botanicals like white willow bark, eucalyptus, camphor, menthol, those sorts of things that give you a cooling action, the combination of all of those things together can provide immediate relief to the joints and without any of the systemic side effects that you would get from taking long-term Advil, ibuprofen, those sorts of things.
Yeah, I think I'm probably using it off label, but hey, if it's helping, it's helping. And I do love the coolness. I love that it doesn't get on my clothes and mess anything up. I don't have to worry about that. The methylene blue is in it, so there's a slight blue color in the TheraBlue, but not enough to stain clothes. I've had no problem with that at all. The only thing I'll warn people is don't put your contacts in without washing your hands after you've used it, because I have made that mistake.
Yes, and you're not really using it off-label, Gina, to use it for migraines. Muscle tension is a very, very common cause of headaches. So this topical product goes a long way to, again, reducing muscle pain and spasm. So it makes perfect sense that it might help with your headaches. And as you said, yes, do wash your hands. It's that menthol and the eucalyptus that can cause a burning sensation. You don't want to put that in your eye or your mouth.
Yeah, I think the other thing I really like about it, Dr. Victory, is that you can use it whenever you feel like you need it. It's safe enough to be used every single day. You wouldn't want to take anti-inflammatories every single day. It's bad for you systemically, right?
Absolutely. Non-steroidals, unfortunately, can have a lot of gastrointestinal side effects. They can increase your risk of bleeding. They can lead to stomach ulcers and gastritis. So although they do work, there's no problem with taking them for most people, occasionally on a daily basis, a regular basis, a topical like TheraBlue makes much more sense, far safer, and frankly, more effective.
Yeah, and more holistic in general. You're healing your whole body. You're healing yourself, as you said, at the tissue level, rather than just putting a Band-Aid on something that could cause other problems later and doesn't really get to the source of the problem.
And then the other thing you should be doing is decreasing those pro-inflammatory foods. We've learned so much, Gina, about the inflammatory effect of seed oils, for example.
Yes.
Canola oil, corn oil, those sorts of things. You really want to move over to butter and olive oil, things that don't cause inflammation, plus increase those foods that you mentioned earlier, like foods with high levels of omega-3 fatty acids, nuts, those sorts of things that will help your body to calm inflammation.
Yeah. For those of us who like anchovies or sardines, you can just pop those things as long as they're not in seed oils. You want to take the ones that aren't, those nice oily fish like that. You get your calcium, you get your fish. I make my kids take a sardine every day. They think I'm terrible, but I think it's good for them. Dr. Kelly, I love all the innovations coming out of the wellness company. I love your updates, and we're all getting healthier for it. So thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, that stubborn ache that never quite goes away, the one that ice, heat, and pain pills don't touch? Well, if you could target it at the cellular level instead of just numbing it, that's what TheraBlue was designed to do. TheraBlue is next-gen pain-relieving peptide gel that works deeper into the skin surface, powered by aquamolecular delivery technology. It delivers peptides and botanicals directly to that muscle tissue for legitimate, long-lasting relief. Hero ingredient: copper peptide. This promotes collagen synthesis, reduces inflammation, and helps accelerate repair. NAD+, we're reading all about that right now, right? It's actually restoring cellular energy that aids recovery, while methylene blue protecting your mitochondria, supporting endurance. Natural extracts like MSM, turmeric, white willow bark, arnica, and ginger soothe the inflammation, while menthol, camphor, and eucalyptus oil, all healthy natural things that your body knows what to do with, provide instant cooling relief. It absorbs fast, leaves your skin refreshed, not greasy. Use just a thin layer, massage until absorbed, and let your body experience lasting recovery. Get 10% off, by the way. If you go to twc.health/RAB, use the promo code RAB, you can move freely again with TheraBlue. Click twc.health/RAB to peptide your pain away with TheraBlue Pain Relieving Gel from the wellness company. Use code RAB. Save you 10% off every order. All right, you guys, coming up. After the assassination that we experienced earlier in this year of Charlie Kirk, free speech on campus, conservative college students now afraid, in some campuses anyway, to voice their opinions. We have some shocking details coming up next as American Sunrise continues.
I'd like to say this is the first time, but there have been others.
How many?
Who can keep track?
You think this is a joke?
Darling, we need answers, and you're gonna give them to us.
Tell us again.
My car broke down. I brought it here.
I got stuck paying an expensive repair bill.
So it's true.
How much, darling?
$2,300.
$2,300.
Well, what was I supposed to do? My transmission was shot.
You pick up your phone and you call CarShield before the car breaks down.
Plans through CarShield cover up to 5,000 parts and systems in your car.
That's right. A plan through CarShield could save you on some criminally high auto repairs, especially if your car is out of warranty. So, call CarShield, America's #1 auto protection company, before a breakdown and save yourself from getting stuck in car repair jail.
Let me guess. You hate saving money.
Who hates saving money?
Apparently you do.
All you had to do was call CarShield. And you could have protected yourself against expensive repairs.
Yeah, and then my price will go up the minute I file a claim.
Shut up! CarShield has the price locked in.
For as long as you cover your car.
I guess I should have called CarShield?
It's about time you said something that made sense.
Now you know what you need to do next time.
Bet he'll call CarShield now.
So can I go? Or...
CarShield has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau and was voted America's most trusted auto protection company. Don't get handcuffed paying expensive auto repairs. Call now and get the CarShield guarantee. Your price will never go up and your coverage will never go down as long as you cover your car. In just minutes, you could have a plan that covers up to 5,000 parts and systems in your car. Don't wait until it's too late. Get CarShield's best coverage yet. Call 800-491-4896.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. It is time to stay awake, not woke, and today we are heading back to college campuses following the assassination of Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley State University. A new survey finds college students nationwide are worried. The survey by the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression and College Pulse points to a chilling effect on free speech across colleges. Roughly half of the students surveyed said they're less comfortable attending or hosting controversial events on campus, and some said they're less comfortable expressing controversial views in class. Critics warn universities must protect speech rights for all. Let's bring in Dr. Gina and Terrence for more. Terrence, want to go to you first on this one. You know, I was in college just 6 years ago, and this was a huge problem even when I was in school. You know, people, if they were on the right side of issues, didn't feel as though they were able to speak up in class. And Charlie, you know, he gave a voice to so many people on college campuses. It's so sad to see that we're going in the opposite direction.
Yeah, I was in college just 15 years ago, a much longer time than 6 years ago. But you know what this brings to mind to me, Emily, is that the point of terrorism is to change the way people go about their daily lives. It changes kind of the environment that people are in. And I feel like the attack on Charlie was an act of terrorism because it's changed, as you just reported, the way that college students now are going about their daily lives, the way they feel, the environment at college campuses, because you just never know if you say something, if you're going to be attacked as a result of what you say because someone may agree or disagree with what you're saying. And that's the biggest tragedy to me. Colleges should be, in my mind at least, places of free speech, places of open thought, and places where people challenge each other's thoughts and opinions in a civil way. But unfortunately, Dr. Gina, it's not that way anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, it really hasn't been. I won't tell you, Emily, how long ago it was that I did college and grad school, but it was plenty long ago, and I experienced all of that. You've heard me say probably on the show before that actually my first master's degree from St. Louis University was withheld from me for political reasons. I didn't get to walk with my class. I had to start another master's degree and PhD at another college and just keep my opinions really quiet until my graduation. It shouldn't have to be that way. It should be a free speech safe zone. We didn't have anybody out there like Turning Point or any of the legal firms that are out there now to help students who have things happen to them like what happened to me. But you're right, it hasn't changed what has happened. I just talked to a student at Georgetown here at the Kennedy Center Honors the other night, and she was telling me some horrific, real horror stories happening at Georgetown right here in Washington, D.C. right now. And I know that they are trying very hard to get speakers to come, and they want people like us to go on to campuses to talk to the students and to take up the mantle that Charlie left behind. But it is scary. It is. You have to have levels of security now, even just for my children's book signings that I'm doing these days, Terrence and Emily. It can be really unbelievable, the level of security you have to have just to let the public come into anything where there's a free exchange of ideas.
Gina, I am curious. I know we only have a few seconds here, but as a parent, is it better to not send your kid to college at all? Is it just a brainwashing institution at this point?
I mean, I've given I have college funds I've saved for my children. My dad was sweet enough to put something in place before his death for my children, for their college. And I told them, you can either take that money and go to college, or you can start an entrepreneurial pursuit. So my children, so far, I think with the exception of my youngest, Beau, he will go to college. He wants to be a lawyer, wants to have that, just those credentials behind him. But I think the trade schools are great. One of my children has done real estate school. There are things you can do besides college. I think we've really bought a bill of goods with college. I'm not saying it's always bad, but I am saying you have to watch where you go. As for my children, I wouldn't pay for them to go to anything but a Christian college.
Terrence, quickly, your thoughts. What do you tell your kids?
Well, my girls are going to college. I just think that for them, it's a necessity in order to take the legacy that I've built and take it a step further. My whole challenge, my challenge for my parents was to take their legacy and move it a step further, and that's my challenge to my girls. And so for them, at this juncture, that's the only option. Well, it's the only option I've put on them, but I also believe that it's probably the best option for them. Now, having said that, I do think there are other opportunities out there. I think Dr. Gina made a great point. Trade schools, going to become an electrician, those are definitely opportunities. And if that's something that my girls wanted to go, I would absolutely support that. But I probably also would encourage them to go to school for business, for instance, so they have that foundation, and then to go to get a trade or something like that. That's just my thing. And quite honestly, part of it's a cultural thing. It's a familial thing. It's just kind of part of what we do as a family. And so I've fallen into that. That's just where my mindset is.
Yeah, that's why I posed the question to you guys. It feels like college is just something that you have to do. You have to go. You have to get that piece of paper. And I wonder if that's going to change moving forward. Great discussion, you guys.
I think it is. I think it is, Emily. I'm from a long family of doctors, and I would never advise my children to go to college unless they had a very specific reason, like law school, like medical school.
Great discussion. All right, coming up, how can artists and influencers use their platforms to spread the word of God? We have those answers straight ahead on American Sunrise.
Half protection is not enough. Using just an antivirus online is also not enough. Get better protection from online threats. Get NordVPN now.
Yikes. Leaky refrigerator coil card.
Oh no.
But your future is bright with an American Home Shield warranty to protect your covered home system. Don't worry, be warranty.
Joining us is Dr. Drew from the Wellness Company with advice for dealing with seasonal colds and flu. Doctor?
Cold and flu season is here, and every year you or a loved one gets sick. Your doctor can't see you. Waiting in a crowded urgent care is brutal. This is a particularly bad cold and flu season, and it's why doctors suggest every family needs an emergency medical kit. Your medical emergency kit is filled with essential prescriptions. It includes antibiotics like generic Z-Pak to get well faster, amoxicillin for pneumonia, strep throat, ear infections, plus prescriptions for nausea and UTIs, and even ivermectin. It's easy. Just match your symptoms to the prescription in your guidebook or call the telemedicine doctor standing by. Take your medication early and feel better faster. Having a medical emergency kit is like having an urgent care in your home. No waiting to see a doctor, no lines at the pharmacy.
Smart advice. We've shared the website and discount code below to save viewers $45. Order now and your kit will be rushed to your door. Thank you, doctor.
Kevin paid off over $12,000 in credit card debt with the help of Consolidated Credit. They cut his interest rates and lowered his payments so he could pay off his debt fast. Call 800-596-8062 for a free consultation.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you.
Call or scan for your free writer's guide today.
God bless the USA.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. It's now time for our moment of faith, which is brought to us daily by Lee Greenwood and the God Bless the USA Bible. In focus today, a faith summit in Tampa, Florida. The group Life Surge is holding its event in Tampa, helping people and artists use their influence to help spread the word of God. The next big event for them is next month in West Palm Beach, Florida, where speakers like Tim Tebow and Sage Steele will be making appearances. RAV correspondent Bo Davidson on the ground for today's event, though. Bo, run us through who all is going to be there and what this is all about.
Of course, Terrence. Well, this is actually pretty cool because this is an exclusive invitation that we got at Real America's Voice to come see what their planning and their vision is for 2026. Just a little bit about the company. They've been around for about 5 years. They're an education company. They are a for-profit company, so they're not a church. But their goal is to inspire and train and equip others to surge their resources and impact. So they're an education company, Terrence, that has become evangelistic. And the way they do that is through training people, especially adults primarily, to have courses, to have training, to be able to use their skills for higher education, not in the traditional sense. But the evangelistic component came on kind of later, and they want people to be good stewards of their money. They believe you can make money, you just have to be a good steward for it. So there are primarily these events that you mentioned, Life Surge Summits, but there's also training on classes as well. So they're unveiling their 2026 vision, and Terrence, this is a big number that I've learned from being here just in the past 2 days. They saved 25,000 souls for the kingdom of God, which I think is a very, very important statistic, and they're going to save even more in 2026. But like I said, it's an education company with this evangelistic purpose. And some of the other people that you mentioned, Terrence, that will be here, just let me give you a rundown. Tim Tebow, Jonathan Rumi of The Chosen, Kathy Ireland, Priscilla Schreier, Nick Vujicic, Chris Tomlin, Willie and Sadie Robertson of Duck Dynasty, Kelsey Grammer, Magic Johnson, I'm sure you know him, Terrence, Antonio Gates, Emmitt Smith, other big football legend, Jeff Foxworthy, Craig Rochelle, Elizabeth Hasselbeck, and Natalie Grant. So those are a lot of the names that will be appearing over the next several months as these Life Surge Summits begin.
And you mentioned some big names, but it's even the least of these. They can also have an impact on who can be there to learn some of the values and to learn some of the things that they can be doing just to go into their regular everyday neighborhoods and spread the gospel.
Yeah, and the thing about I think is interesting, Terrence, is that when they started this company, again, as an education company, they kind of thought they were preaching to the choir. Oh, we're only going to get Christians that are going to come and want to seek higher education. It was actually the contrary. There were a number of people that came that were not Christians that gave their life to God as a result of going through their program. So I think that evangelistic component is fascinating. I think it's inspiring. And if you look at the dates they've got coming up, Terrence, January 9th, Orlando, January 17th, West Palm Beach, January 24th in L.A., February 7th in Baton Rouge, February 28th in Dallas, March 7th, Sacramento, March 14th, St. Louis, and then San Antonio and Kansas City coming up. There's a good chance there's going to be a Life Surge Summit near you, and so you're going to want to go to lifesurge.com to be able to find out where those summits are going to be. But Terrence, I've just really been inspired as a media person, getting a close look at how they do what they do, and just to have that component of being able to evangelize and be a good steward of your resources.
Absolutely. Very cool event, and hopefully it comes close to me. Bo Davidson reporting for us this morning. By the way, Bo, with that shirt on, you look like Bo Duke from the Dukes of Hazzard. I love it.
Thank you, Terrence. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. We'll talk soon. We're back with the second hour of American Sunrise after this.
Introducing the limited edition God Bless the USA Bible, inspired by Lee Greenwood's hit song and the most recognized patriotic anthem in America, God Bless the USA. The God Bless the USA large print leather-bound King James Bible also contains America's founding documents, the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the Pledge of Allegiance, along with a handwritten chorus to Lee Greenwood's song, God Bless the USA. With its large print and slim design, this Bible invites you to explore God's Word anywhere, anytime. The God Bless the USA Bible makes the perfect gift and cherished family heirloom keepsake to pass on to future generations. Designed for an easy reading experience in the trusted King James Version translation, this large print Bible is perfect to take to church, Bible study, work, and for traveling. Order yours today at GodBlessTheUSABible.com.
America's in a fight for her soul. Our freedoms are under attack. Our values are being torn down, and the same corrupt elites who built this mess think they can silence us. The patriots who still believe in this country, not a chance. Here at Real America's Voice, we're standing shoulder to shoulder with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, the movement that says we will not be silenced.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
The voice of millions of patriots who refuse to kneel to tyranny. This is the movement of fighters, men and women who still believe in God, family, and the American dream. The conservative alternative to AARP.
Real rights, they come from God.
If you're ready to stand up and join the fight, go to amac.us/RAV right now. That's amac.us/RAV, because this isn't just about politics. It's about saving America. Faith, freedom, America first. AMAC and Real America's Voice, united for the Republic.
Guys, if you plan to retire in the next 20 years, or if you've already retired, I have a message for you that you need to hear. Central banks, BRIC nations, and our allies are pumping trillions of dollars back into America, but every dollar they send could make your savings worth less. Hi, I'm Donald Trump Jr., and I just want you to be prepared for the future. So protect your hard-earned savings with gold. A gold IRA from my trusted friends at the Birch Gold Group offers you the safety net of gold with the tax advantage status of a retirement account. To see how it's done, click the link below to get a free info kit on gold IRAs. This kit reveals why gold IRAs are exploding in popularity, so do it now. What do you have to lose? It's free and there's no obligation. Click the link below to get your free info kit from the Birch Gold Group.
Coming up on this second hour of American Sunrise, the House of Representatives reveals a massive defense spending bill that goes above and beyond what President Trump initially requested. We'll talk about what's inside that 3,000-page legislation in just a moment. Plus, new polling reveals that most Americans support President Trump's plan to send $2,000 tariff dividend checks to low and middle income Americans. We'll have analysis on the proposal and if you'll see a check. Plus, how Americans are responding to all of this. That's straight ahead. And then later, President Trump kicking off his new affordability tour in Pennsylvania today to tout more proposals for bringing down the cost of living for Americans. Those stories and so much more right now on this second hour of American Sunrise.
Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics.
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrence.
And I'm Dr. Gina.
Welcome back to this second hour of American Sunrise. I'm Terrence Bates in our Denver studio. Always good to see you. Let's bring in Dr. Gina. She's in Washington, D.C. Emily Finn is in our West Palm Beach studios. David Brody, by the way, has a day off. Ladies, I know this is completely just out of left field, but I'm curious. Are either of you chili fans? And I'm asking this because it's cold here, and when it gets this cold, I typically like to make a big old pot of chili. And I was so popular in my household. Like, my girls hugged me big. They were like, "Dad, you made chili." It's like a comfort food to me when the weather is this cold. Are either of you chili fans?
Huge.
Yeah,
Emily?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't think it would be my go-to, but Terrence, I bet your chili is incredible.
Yeah, tell us the recipe, T.
Thank you. Oh my God, I put everything. Like, seriously, for me, when I do my chili, I just kind of throw in whatever. Like, you've got to have beans. So I typically do black beans and kidney beans, and then I do some ground turkey. But whatever other spices, anything that's kind of red and looks kind of like chili powder, I typically put in some paprika, cinnamon, that kind of thing, and a little bit of brown sugar. But I don't know, that just popped into my mind. My daughter, oldest, just texted me a little while ago. Go ahead.
I have to tell you, my mom made the best chili in the world. My husband makes fun of it and says it's not actually chili because I Italianize chili. I use Italian sausage. I use the big red kidney beans. I love those. And I put all the Italian spices in it for whatever reason. But also brown sugar, I think, is critical. Chili powder, of course, I love. But yeah, the Italian sausage and the mushrooms to me are key. That's what my mom did.
I like that you,
and then you have
Italianized it. That's funny.
Yeah, isn't that funny? But, you know, Gina is the name, so it's going to happen. But, you know, my mom always served on the side peanut butter and celery. I don't know if that's a thing or if that's just what my mom did. But, yeah, you had to have peanut butter and celery on the side with chili. I have no idea.
Well, Chef Gina and Chef Terrence, you guys are putting your recipes together here. I love it.
Exactly. Like, I'm going to come next week. I'm like, girls, so this is Italian chili. And be like, Italian chili? Yeah. Really, Dad? I'm not mad at your mom for that. Ladies, let's get to a couple of quick headlines. A Brazilian woman described as a, quote, criminal illegal alien being released from an ICE detention center in Louisiana after an immigration judge ordered her release on a $1,500 bond. Here's video of her initial arrest. You can see the ICE agents pulling up alongside her car. The woman's release making headlines, though, because she was previously engaged to White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt's brother and shares an 11-year-old son with him. The 33-year-old had reportedly been arrested for battery. Her attorney denies that allegation, saying that she's not a flight risk. Texas's upcoming Senate race just got a lot more interesting as Democrat Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is planning to run against Republican Senator John Cornyn. The outspoken Democrat announced her candidacy on Monday on the final day of qualifying. A defiant Crockett telling supporters, quote, "I'm the only one who has gone toe-to-toe with Donald Trump, and there's a reason he's always got my name in his mouth." Democrat Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett now running for Senate. And Japan is beginning the recovery process this morning following a massive 7.5 magnitude earthquake that triggered a tsunami. Look at this, folks. At last check, more than 30 people were hurt. Most were hit by falling objects. Japan's meteorological agency says that aftershocks are possible in the coming days. Wow, look at that video there. That's a quick check of your headlines. Now, let's get a quick check of your forecast. Weather Nation meteorologist Tracy Anthony joining us in our West Palm Beach studio. By the way, scan that QR code there at the bottom of your screen and join our friends over at Weather Nation. TT, my favorite part of the show, time for our hometown forecasts.
Oh, yeah, and they're all coming in from Gettr today. So this is from Tea Party Girl. She wanted a forecast for Welcome, North Carolina. Now, they've got a pretty quiet forecast, but they're chilly for the day today, and they're going to stay pretty mild. But notice next week, those temperatures are going to plummet once again. Now, if we go up a little bit farther to the north, going to take you to Wasilla, Alaska. This is from Robbie Daly on Gettr. Look at this. We're in the teens every day, but that's technically a good 10 degrees above their average of 6. And overnight temperatures will be in the low teens, single digits as well. So definitely bundle up there across Alaska. And for Phoenix, this coming in from Stop Rhinos on Gettr. This is where we're talking about record potential. So a handful of cities across the Southwest will have the potential for record heat over the next couple of days, and it's really going to stick around through Sunday. So this is kind of one of those stories that you don't often hear about in December because we're so busy covering the winter weather, but some places are warm, and that's where you want to go if you want a warmer Christmas. Now, Terrence, I do have one question for you because the Northwest is dealing with a warm atmospheric river. We have a poll going on Twitter. Do you use an umbrella?
No, I just run. I just run real fast.
That's what
I get out of my car.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
No. If I were to look around my house for an umbrella, I'd be searching next Wednesday still. I couldn't tell you where we have one or if we even have one. Yeah, I just get out of my car and run for shelter really fast. I probably should be a bit more mature than that. But you ask, and that's just the truth. Sorry,
I have
Tracy.
one that's hidden in my car. I don't know where it is. No, I'm with you. And that's why we were asking on Twitter. So feel free to join into the conversation. I really don't think many people actually use an umbrella.
Yeah. Not one of those people. All right, Tracy, we'll talk to you tomorrow. And by tomorrow, maybe I'll have bought an umbrella. How about that?
Yeah. You won't use it, though.
Yeah, exactly. True. Just be a waste of money. You see that QR code there at the bottom of your screens, folks? Go ahead and there we have it up again. Sorry. Go ahead and scan that and join our friends over at Weather Nation. Well, look, members of the House have revealed a $901 billion National Defense Authorization Act payment on Sunday. A 3,068-page bill that includes $8 billion more than President Trump initially requested. That bill, by the way, codifies at least 15 of the president's executive orders, including construction for the Golden Dome missile defense system and modernizing weapon systems, as well as sending more troops to the southern border. Joining us now with reaction to all of this is editor-in-chief for Just the News and, of course, friend of the show, John Solomon. Johnny Solomon, good morning, my friend.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
It's good to have you. So, look, I think most people are for the Defense Authorization Act and making sure that we fund the armed forces. But at this price tag, it's giving people pause.
Yeah, listen, I think first off, it's an expression of the support that Congress now has for Pete Hegseth. Remember, they were cool to him being defense secretary a few months ago, but I think after seeing the compass resetting that he's created for the Pentagon, getting it focused back on war fighting, not on social engineering and other ideological issues, they're impressed. And so I think the fact that Congress would offer the Pentagon more than even that the president asked for is an expression of support for what Hegseth's doing. This will not be the final number. It ultimately will get negotiated down to a number that fits into a budget that the Congress is trying to do to cut spending overall while keeping our security strong. But inside the budget roadmap is the future of warfighting, a whole new drone program, taking the learnings from what we learned from the Ukraine and Russia war, where small, inexpensive drones have replaced soldiers as the most lethal form of fighting. It includes a significant missile shield of the Golden Dome that we've talked about for years, but we've actually been talking about it since Reagan. We know Israel has a good one. We're going to develop one here to protect ourselves. It has counter-drone technology to protect our troops in the field. It is a futuristic, forward-leaning roadmap after years of Pentagon budgets that had a lot more to do with liberal ideology than keeping the country safe.
You know, John, I sometimes really enjoy sitting around the table with my children and just learning from them what they're learning. And they have a lot of friends in the military. My son, Jack, was telling me that our military is so prepared. I think he said we could I think he said that we could outgun every military 4 times over. You love to hear things like that, and that may be part of the reason why we hadn't done the dome before. But now we think this dome is necessary. What's your analysis on that?
Well, listen, we know the asymmetric threat of warfare is high. If a stolen nuke, forget conventional warfare between states. If someone stole a nuke or created a dirty bomb and put it on a small missile, we'd have a devastating effect here. And President Trump and Pete Hegseth and the security team doesn't want to risk that. And so creating a dome that can identify and quickly take down any missile coming into the United States is really essential. Now, it would be more essential if we're in conflict with a major nation like China. But right now, they're thinking about the unexpected, that one loose nuke, that broken arrow that gets away. And so having this capability is a major security opportunity for the United States. It's something that Reagan proposed under the Star Wars plan of the 80s. It never got built. Israel showed it can work. As you see, many of the Hezbollah missiles get shut down every time by the dome there. And Donald Trump is determined to make it reality in this presidency.
John, we also want to get your take on the Trump Accounts program. Over the weekend, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said there will be no restrictions on how children can use their Trump accounts once they turn 18, and that the funds will act as a sort of trust fund or individual retirement account Americans can invest in. What's your take on all of this? Do you think this is a good move for Americans?
Well, it's going to be popular. There's 2 things you see. President Trump wanting to give money back from terrorists, very popular. President Trump creating trust fund sort of accounts that the government seeds and that grandparents and parents can contribute into. We've been a debtor nation for the last 25 years, and creating a culture of saving and giving young people the benefit of learning how to invest and grow a trust fund. It creates financial literacy. It creates some financial security for the future. And it changed us from us being constant plastic spenders to wisely saving from time to time. It's a great cultural moment. It also can be a great financial moment. And when you look at the polling data, this and the tariffs are pretty popular. About 65% of Americans like it. I think it's a future model for where the government's going to go. I think it's going to get out of the business of providing a lot of direct aid and maybe seeding investment accounts and letting people control their own destiny, something Republicans have wanted to do for a long time, even with Social Security. This is sort of the first test bed for it.
John Solomon, appreciate your time as always. Good to see you.
Great to be with you guys. Thanks.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
We'll talk soon. Coming up, a Maryland man busted on a massive tech fraud scheme. Find out how his scam let North Korean operatives access U.S. government systems. Ahead, what investigators are saying about the case.
We've moved so far away from the Constitution that in many ways we don't even recognize it.
In Hillsdale College's most popular online course, Constitution 101, distinguished politics professors teach you the meaning and history of the Constitution, how it's been undermined, and what it will take to restore it. Absolutely free at learnfromhillsdale.org. You'll learn the principles of American government, discover how the founders established the freest and most prosperous nation in history, see the ways we have moved beyond the Constitution in the past, and how we face a new crisis posed by the rise of the bureaucratic state.
We think that we're becoming more advanced by abandoning the Constitution and adopting something like an administrative state, that the administrative state intrudes upon even the minutest aspects of people's lives.
When you learn the facts about the Constitution and see that its principles are just as important today as when first written, you'll understand why we must fight to recover it for future generations.
Almost everybody in America, even people with very different perspectives, senses there's something deeply wrong with our political life. Recovery of the earlier constitutional understanding, I believe it's useful to help guide us, but at the very least, we have to understand it.
This exceptional content is available to you now. Signing up is easy and free when you go to learnfromhillsdale.org today. When you sign up, you'll enjoy 12 easy-to-follow lessons and be able to separate truth from fiction regarding the Constitution. Join more than 1 million Americans who've taken Constitution 101 or enjoy one of the many other course opportunities by signing up for free today.
You know, this course really does help you understand
our protections and what this country is founded on.
I was really humbled by how much of history I'd forgotten. Everyone really needs to take this course.
To start your journey discovering the Constitution free of charge, go to learnfromhillsdale.org today.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Emily Finn. It's great to have you with us this morning. Time now to drain the swamp, and this morning we are fleshing out government fraud and one extremely disloyal American. A Maryland man is headed to prison after admitting he helped North Korean operatives infiltrate U.S. companies and even gain access to government systems. Prosecutors say the 40-year-old suspect spent years posing as a highly trained software developer, using fake resumes, fake credentials, and false claims of U.S. citizenship. But behind the screen, authorities say the real work was being done by a foreign national in China, likely a North Korean operative, even on projects connected to national defense and federal agencies like the FAA. For more, let's bring in Dr. Gina and Terrence Bates. Gina, to me, it's like someone helping terrorists invade our country. This is so wrong.
Yeah, well, this has been going on for such a long time, Emily, and I think we have honestly no idea the scope of it. But hopefully some of this can be corrected under the Trump administration now that they've brought at least our border crossings to a complete halt. It is time to focus on other ways that illegals and especially spies and especially operatives are getting into our country, Terrence.
Now, agreed, but there's also some personal accountability I think that we as a country need to take in terms of our vetting and making sure that we're truly figuring out who these people are and doing our background checks. It brings to mind that superintendent in Iowa who was on the job, and then it ultimately was found out that he was here illegally as well. There are just cracks in the system right now that people are allowed to slip through and able to slip through, and I think we just need to increase our vetting, and we need to be a lot more stringent on our background checks because this sort of thing shouldn't happen. This should have, this should have been caught way before it got to this point.
Absolutely, Terrence. And, I will say, I don't think it's surprising that it was a Chinese national, someone in China that was kind of running this from behind the scenes as well. China does so much to spy on America when it comes to buying up American farmland and trying to spy on military bases, when it comes to infiltrating our colleges with the Confucian Institutes. It is happening right in front of our faces. And I think our government needs to do a much better job, like you said, Terrence, of a vetting process to make sure that, things like this don't happen.
Yeah.
Also, I think, Emily, go ahead.
I just wanted to really add, it's easy for us to say, it's easy for me to sit here and backseat quarterback. I'm sure it's much more difficult, but at least the steps need to be made, Dr. Gina, to start the process and to start to hopefully tighten the system. That's all I wanted to say, Dr. G.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we need to fearlessly battle back at the narrative that says that, we can't limit immigration based on country. No, if it's a dangerous country that, like the president is talking about limiting these days, like China, like North Korea, like Somalia, if it's an enemy country, I think that there is no end to the amount of scrutiny that they should have to go through to get into our country. They should only be here if they're really benefiting America.
Well said.
Scrutiny. Great word, Dr. Gina. Scrutiny. We need to scrutinize. I'm with you. Scrutiny. Great word.
Very well said. All right, coming up, we are headed down to Wall Street for the opening bell and a look at why McDonald's franchise owners are about to get a very serious visit from the home office. It could cost them. We'll be back with more American Sunrise in just 2 minutes.
So at the age of 5, I was sexually molested. I had my first child at the age of 15 and became homeless at the age of 16. The scariest part about not having a place to live was having a child and not having a place to live and not knowing where our meal was going to come from and where we're going to sleep. To be homeless as a teen, I didn't ask for that.
No young person should ever have to worry about having a safe place to sleep at night, or a warm meal to eat, or whether anyone cares about them. 1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year, and that's unacceptable. But the good news is there is an organization making a big difference, Covenant House.
Call or go online now. For a gift of only $19 a month, just 63 cents a day, you can provide hot meals, safe shelter, medical care, and love to more than 2,000 young people who sleep at a Covenant House every night.
For over 50 years, Covenant House has been helping youth in crisis.
It was pretty tough. But Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
Call or go online right now to safeplacetosleep.org with your gift of just $19 a month. With your monthly donation, you'll receive this soft, comforting blanket as a reminder of the warmth and safety your gift will provide a young person tonight.
I have no words to express how Covenant House changed my life. They gave me the love that I needed. They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding.
Your $19 monthly gift is urgently needed to reach other young people who are facing unimaginable situations. Call or go online to safeplacetosleep.org.
Your support makes the work of Covenant House possible. Thank you for caring.
At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
We're getting ready for the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. It is set to ring here in about 6 minutes or so. I can tell you that pre-market trading not looking so hot at the moment. As you can see, the major indices, the Dow, S&P 500, and the NASDAQ are all in the red. Hopefully, that will immediately change when the bell rings here in just a few minutes. Again, we'll take you to New York for the opening bell in just a little while. But first, it is time for our daily dose of dollars and common sense with American Sunrise Early Edition host and the guy behind the Jake's Take Substack, Jake Novak. Jake, good to see you, my friend.
Always great to see you. It's good that, we got let's talk behind David's back. No, just kidding. It's good to talk to you directly. Likewise.
I always sit here and I'm like, wow, he should do this entire segment because he knows much more about the economy and economic issues than I do. But one thing I do know is that the saga over buying Warner Brothers just keeps going. It seems like that's a mess, and it seems like every single day there's a new headline that comes out. A hostile counteroffer on the table now, I hear?
Yeah, Terrence, this is not a rerun. No, there's still a battle going on for Warner Brothers. Now, some of you may remember, as we reported here on Real America's Voice on Friday, Warner Brothers accepted a $72 billion all-cash deal from Netflix. Okay, well, Paramount Skydance, which started this whole bidding war for Warner's in the first place, is not satisfied with that. And so now it is a classic textbook hostile takeover. Because they call it that because the board at Warner's wants to take the Netflix deal. Now, Paramount is sweetening the deal. They're not just going to offer $72 billion like Netflix did. They have a $79 billion offer on the table. And Terrence, this is giving me great flashbacks, great memories from the 1980s when we had corporate raiders and hostile takeovers driving up the price of corporations like crazy. It was a fun time, crazy for the people involved, but a fun time. I'm telling you right now, Terrence, the final sale price for Warner's, I feel very confident in saying, will get well over $90 billion before this is over, maybe even $100 billion. So just get the popcorn and watch this. This is going to be a fun battle, and it's going to get nasty at some point. Right now, it's friendly. Like, hey, I'll 79, I got 72. It's going to get a little nasty soon, and that'll be fun too.
Jake, the reality is most of us are listening to these numbers being thrown around and we're wondering, okay, so how is this going to ultimately affect my bottom line? How is this going to ultimately affect me as a viewer, me as a consumer?
Ooh, good question. Your streaming prices are going to go up. Now, don't blame this merger on that alone. Because that was going to happen anyway. We've been in a strange situation with all these streaming choices for well over 10 years now. I've been wondering, when is there going to be consolidation? Not that I'm rooting for it. I'd love to have more choices and lower prices. But this feels to me like we've had more streaming channel choices than makes sense for a long time. Remember the dot-com bomb? The dot-com bomb wasn't that the internet wasn't a viable business model. Of course it was. It was just there were too many companies. And so it ended up that only a few survived. Streamers have so far we haven't had that big time consolidation, but to answer your question, this might speed the process of what was inevitably going to happen anyway, which is you're going to pay more for streaming.
Okay. All right. There's the bottom line. Let's talk McDonald's. They're dealing with some supersized problems. Could be scary times for McDonald's franchise owners in particular. What's up? Why do they actually need to be looking over their shoulders?
Well, I'd love to see how they're going to do this, how the central office at McDonald's, what they're going to do, Terrence, is they're going to go to a lot of different franchises across the country and see if they're complying with the new lower prices that McDonald's is putting in there, their value deals coming back and those value meals coming back in, because McDonald's lost a lot of market share over the last couple of years. It was literally too expensive for some people. When people were, finding that they had to pay $15 for a Big Mac meal, that was sticker shock. And so McDonald's realizes this, and they're really telling all their franchisees, here are the prices now, you have to do this. Look, some of the franchisees don't follow the central office rules. And the central office wants to find out if that's the case, because that's going to hurt the company nationwide if that happens. And they're going to tell them, if you don't lower your prices, or I hope they give them a warning. They may not even give them a warning. They might just say, you didn't lower your prices like we said, we're pulling your franchise as of the end of the year. They could do that to you. So you better be careful. If you're watching this and and your McDonald's is charging you more than what you see in the commercials, maybe you would have been telling them, you better lower your prices or you're going to lose your business.
Okay, before I let you go, the Detroit Auto Show and Pete Buttigieg. Go.
I mean, give me a break. Listen, Pete Buttigieg is running for president in 2028. He has every right to do so. But they're going to try to cast him as some kind of a gearhead and blue-collar guy by going to the Detroit Auto Show. He's making an appearance there. I think that this is a trap waiting to snap around his leg. I don't think he should be anywhere near an auto show, especially since he wasn't so great as a transportation chief. I don't know where he should go, maybe Harvard or something like that. That's where he went undergrad. But the Detroit Auto Show, I don't care how fancy and glitzy it is, and it can be a lot of fun. I just don't think that's the place for him to launch his new national image.
Yeah. So I've driven stick before, just to let you know. I know all about cars. Yeah, I can't quite envision that one either, but we'll leave it there. Always good to see you, Jake. Appreciate it, my friend.
Good to talk to you directly for once, Terrence. Thank you.
I know, you as well. You as well. All right, folks, let's get you ready for the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. It is set to ring here in just a little bit. In fact, we're less than a minute away from the opening bell. It is sponsored by AMAC.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
Bell is going to ring here in short order, and right on cue, there it is. The markets are now officially open. And as we showed you just a little while ago, pre-market trading wasn't looking good. All three indices were down in pre-market trading. Let's take a look to see if anything has changed. And as you can see, at the moment, the Dow is in the green. That very well could change here. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ are both down at this point. So we, of course, will see how all of this ultimately shapes out throughout the day. Still to come here on American Sunrise, Ilhan Omar is speaking out, claiming that members of the Somali community are being targeted and victimized amid the fallout from recently discovered fraud there in Minnesota. We'll get you the facts after the break. First, though, a message from David Brody on what you need to know about Crypto.com.
Trump Media just signed a massive $6.4 billion deal with Yorkville Acquisition Corp and Crypto.com, which is the crypto platform trusted by millions of users worldwide. They're teaming up to acquire up to $6.4 billion in CRO to establish America's first publicly traded CRO Treasury, the Trump Media Group's CRO strategy. Once complete, this new company is going to be the largest publicly traded CRO holder out there. Well, if you're ready to join the crypto revolution, here's what you do. You head to crypto.com today and be part of this historic move. Once again, crypto.com. Do not wait. For more information on this proposed business combination, also check out Yorkville Acquisition Corp's public filings.
Hi there, I'm Dean Heskin, President and CEO of Swiss America. Most investors believe their IRA, 401k, and bank accounts are reliable and safe. But what if our economy becomes so dire that you're restricted from accessing your own money? The fact is that should your bank be in trouble for holding bad loans, the burden could fall on you to help bail them out. Even more concerning is that U.S. financial regulations allow banks to impose withdrawal limits on your hard-earned savings. But there's something you can do about it. Our team at Swiss America has a report called The Secret War on Cash. Learn how to protect yourself with assets that can remain outside the control of banks and other financial institutions. For over 40 years, Swiss America has been one of the most trusted metal firms in the country. So don't wait. Call or text the number on your screen today for financial peace of mind in these uncertain times.
America's in a fight for her soul. Our freedoms are under attack. Our values are being torn down, and the same corrupt elites who built this mess think they can silence us. The patriots who still believe in this country, not a chance. Here at Real America's Voice, we're standing shoulder to shoulder with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, a movement that says we will not be silenced.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
The voice of millions of patriots who refuse to kneel to tyranny. This is the movement of fighters, men and women who still believe in God, family, and the American dream. The conservative alternative to AARP.
Real rights, they come from God.
If you're ready to stand up and join the fight, go to amac.us/RAV right now. That's amac.us/RAV, because this isn't just about politics. It's about saving America. Faith, freedom, America first. AMAC and Real America's Voice, united for the Republic.
Back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. G. Thanks for joining us this morning. We invite you to hop in our conversation on YouTube, Gettr, and Rumble. Right now, we are talking about the fact that I used to actually think that Jack did live in Jack in the Box, and I worried about him when it was cold or hot outside. If you join me in that. We're also talking about our chili recipes, if you'd like to put yours in there. Hop in with us. The political pulse of America is what is next, and Minnesota Congressman Ilhan Omar facing growing outrage after defending the Somali community amid the ongoing federal investigation into widespread fraud involving government funds. In a series of new statements, Omar says Somalis in Minnesota are being singled out, targeted, and victimized by what she calls political motives and media mischaracterization. Really? Investigators, however, continue looking into the claims of a widespread scheme involving false identities, organized fraud, potential national security implications, but Omar argues the real story is the impact on innocent families who she says are facing harassment, fear, and unfair suspicion. Welcome to Trump world. Anyway, here's what she said during an interview on Face the Nation over the weekend.
Well, I want to say, you know, this also has an impact on Somalis because we are also taxpayers in Minnesota. We also could have benefited from the program and the money that was stolen. And so it's been really frustrating for people to not acknowledge the fact that we're also as Minnesotans, as taxpayers, really upset and angry about the fraud that has occurred.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we want to bring in Terrence and Emily. You're right there. This annoys me beyond words, Emily, because I have honestly talk to gay friends. It doesn't really matter how you want to come out of the closet. You come out as a conservative Christian and you will be persecuted. So I don't really want to hear her complaining about Somalis having to deal with the fact that their people have tarnished their reputation.
The choice of words from her is quite interesting. Victimization. I also want to point out there was a report in the Daily Mail that just came out confirming that she married her brother. So I'm just waiting for her to be charged, for her to be arrested, for her brother to get in trouble too, and for her to be deported from this country. It is absolutely crazy the way that she's trying to spin this narrative, Terrence.
Yeah, and the reality is the people of Minnesota are the victims here, and that should be the focus. The fact that there was this sort of widespread theft, the fact that it impacted really the greater community of Minnesota, not just the Somali Americans who many of whom were behind all of this theft. It's a shame that she's trying to shift the blame, if you will, and not focus on the real issue, particularly her community, the broader community beyond the Somalis who voted for her, but the broader community that voted to put her in office. Those are the people who were victimized, and that should be the focus.
Precisely. Well said, both of you. All right, you guys. President Trump kicking off his Affordability Tour today at a casino in northeastern Pennsylvania. The president will be touting several economic accomplishments and proposals, including investments in energy and artificial intelligence, lower gas prices, reforms including 50-year mortgages, and tariff rebates. Joining us now with more detail, RAB Chief White House Correspondent Brian Glenn. Brian, this tour is important to Americans. They want to know how the Trump presidency that they voted for is going to be affecting their pocketbooks, right, Brian? That's what it really comes down to here. Americans feel like they can't afford life like they used to be able to.
Yeah, using the words of Bill Clinton, it's about the economy, stupid. That's exactly what it's about. Now, keep in mind, Dr. Gina, that President Trump inherited a double-digit inflation. Let's think about how everything was expensive. Every good, every product, every service had double-digit inflationary rates on top of it. Now, President Trump has absolutely brought that down, but if you look at the average of 2.5, 3% inflationary rate each year, you're still battling that. But this is the beginning, I think, of what's going to be a very successful messaging economy tour, that he's going to go out and lay out the game plan of lowering the price of goods and services. We've already seen that. And of course, with the tariffs that were put in place, we're going to see more manufacturing brought back to this country, which ultimately will lower the price on a lot of products and things that we buy. But when it comes to everyday consumption, groceries, gasoline, energy, things like that, those are coming down. But I think this messaging tour that he's going on is going to be very crucial going into the midterms for next year. But by the way, I'll be with President Trump today. We're flying out around 4 o'clock from Joint Base Andrews, flying to the Pocono area there in Pennsylvania, going to a casino there where he'll deliver a message on the economy. I'll be with them live, bringing reports all day long for that.
Brian, put it all on black and let it ride, brother. I shouldn't say that publicly. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that publicly. I'm better than that.
I agree.
Let's talk. He's like, I agree. That's what I'm going to do anyway. Let's talk about that farm aid. Yeah. I'm with you. Let's talk a bit about that farm aid package that President Trump announced yesterday. $12 billion going to American farmers in order to help them kind of prepare for next planting season, as many of them lost money and lost product and crops because of this trade war with China.
Yeah, and also he talked about not only getting these people this loan, this, if you will, this money they need to pay off loans, to get fiscally back in line, but also to reinvest in equipment. President Trump brought up a very good point the other day in the cabinet meeting that a lot of the equipment that is being manufactured right now is almost like a mini computer, very much like our cars are these days, or almost computers with wheels, where some of the farming equipment is basically a computer that works out in the field. So he's talking about bringing some of the manufacturing back to make it simple so that when a tractor, breaks down that the farmer has the ability to perhaps work on it himself and not have to take it up to some high-tech shop to fix it. So it goes from the loans to the actual equipment that they use, making sure our farmers have the tools and the money they need to sustain. Because if our farmers go out of business, guess what? We don't eat, and that is not a good thing. And then we rely on other countries, by the way, to get our food, which is not a good thing.
No, not a good thing at all, Brian. I do want to change gears to foreign policy here for a moment. Over the weekend, President Trump said that he was disappointed with Ukrainian President Zelensky, saying that he hasn't read the latest proposal to bring the country's war with Russia to a close. Brian, Zelensky, he doesn't wear a suit. He doesn't read the peace plans. No wonder President Trump is disappointed. What can you tell us about the progress that is being made on this?
Well, I can tell you this. President Zelensky has about 400 million reasons to not end this war right now. That's because that's about how much money is planned in the USDA, that's the U.S. aid package, going to his country. So there is no urgency, in my opinion. And if you look at the money, if you follow the money that's been going to Ukraine, it's been a conveyor belt of U.S. funds going to his country. Don Jr. just said it the other day in Doha. If you look at the amount of wealth that is poured out of Ukraine that's now in Monaco and other countries in that region, it's insane. It's all coming from Ukraine. So if you follow the money, I'm not sure he's serious about ending this war. Now, if you look at the facts that Putin still has not fully agreed with everything, and of course there's things that he disagrees with, and there's things that Zelensky previously with meetings have disagreed with. But it does not surprise me that he has not read the latest update on ending this war. He's got 400 plus million reasons to not do it. But let's see if we can get this thing done. Look, I think the American people have war fatigue at this point. Either end the war, or what they say in the bathroom, or get off the pot. Let's do it.
Yeah, or end foreign aid. I think in every situation, it just seems like the American people really want some of those dollars to come back home and be more domestically enhancing if we can. When we have veterans on the streets and we have Gen Z unable to afford homes and live the American dream like their parents have, there just needs to be more conversation about this, I think, Brian, happening on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, more domestic policy discussions, more things that help us. The fact that President Trump is going to Pennsylvania today at least gives you the idea that the administration behind me is focused on that. And I think Congress needs to get focused on that. I think taking our eye off the needs, the real needs of Main Street USA and going over to some foreign country, and it doesn't matter what foreign country it is, that needs to stop. We have to take care of our problems here. If you look at the deficit going up, $38 trillion in debt, if you look at Social Security, in a matter of 8 years, could absolutely run out of money. That should panic everybody here. We must get our house in order here fiscally, financially, emotionally, get the border secure, which we have that. Let's get our stuff in place before we run off to solve other world problems. That's just my little soapbox here, which, by the way, I'm outside the scene of the crime here. Follow me over here just for a second. Terrence, I'm here to report that the angel has left the White House. It's no longer here, but we'll have to see when the next snowfall is scheduled for D.C. It doesn't have any snow in the forecast next 7 to 10 days.
You were very inspiring in your snow angel making. I got a lot of photographs from friends and family who also made snow angels after you. And can't forget that fox running across the lawn. That was like one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And I was just there and I saw a black squirrel. And I remembered that you only see those really in Washington, D.C. Very cool.
And there's an albino squirrel as well. We don't see him as much here, but I do see him around the Capitol. It's amazing the wildlife and the stories that photographers here will tell you. Real quickly, if I got 30 seconds, they said one day a hawk flew over the West Wing here and dropped a fish that fell right in the middle of the stakeout camera. Let's flip these cameras around real quick. I'm going to make sure people at home understand this. That basically flew and dropped a fish right over here in this area because basically the Potomac, I'm assuming that he picked up a fish in the Potomac, was flying over the White House, and then dropped a fish right here. So the amount of wildlife that's around the White House is incredible. So we were just fortunate enough to see that fox the other day, and so the black squirrel, the albino squirrel, it's all here at the White House. You even have a big
so cool. So cool.
Yeah, big guy like
right.
myself out here. Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, very cool. We were looking down on the White House last night from a rooftop bar and looking at the new ballroom being constructed right underneath the window. All very cool things happening in Washington, D.C. Brian Glenn, always fun to have you. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, B.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, coming up, Charlie Kirk's assassination has topped Google searches for 2025. We're going to dig into those details next, but first, here's a look at what you get when you join our RAB Ambassadors program.
What if watching Real America's Voice was just the beginning? Introducing RAB Ambassadors, the new grassroots platform that turns viewers into leaders, connecting directly with hosts like Steve Bannon, Dr. Gina, and more.
Together, we're turning belief into action.
Inside the RAB Ambassadors Hub, you'll get exclusive updates, challenges, and behind-the-scenes missions straight from the people shaping the fight for faith and freedom. Every action you take, every share, post, and mission earns you points, badges, and ranks. Compete with Patriots nationwide. Unlock rewards, exclusive gear, even chances to appear on air or attend live RAB events. But this isn't just about watching, it's about doing. Joining campaigns, volunteering locally, standing for truth. Together, we're not just a network, we're a movement.
One voice at a time.
Scan the QR code or go to rabambassadors.com to join now.
Because America's voice is your voice.
One of the greatest empires in world history, ruled out of Rome by a man named Caesar Augustus, who understood himself to be the son of a god, is about to be challenged by a baby in a manger.
Hillsdale College invites you to explore how early Christians worshipped, faced persecution, and transformed the Roman world in the completely free online course, Ancient Christianity.
The audacious message of the Old and New Testament is in the time of the Egyptians, the Babylonians, the Assyrians, the Greeks and the Romans, the God of the universe actually revealed himself to humanity.
Ancient Christianity is one of dozens of free online courses offered by Hillsdale College. Sign up at learnfromhillsdale.org to discover how early Christians paved the way for our civilization.
Out of the collapse of the western half of the Roman Empire comes pure chaos, but out of that chaos comes faith.
Whether you're a person of faith, a history enthusiast, or just curious, you'll discover inspiring stories from the earliest beginnings of Christianity, including why early Christians faced persecution and how they spread Christ's message during the fall of Rome.
It truly is miraculous that Christianity has survived to the 21st century.
At no cost to you, you'll receive a front row seat to history as it unfolds through the eyes of the earliest Christians.
I'm Ken Calvert. This is our course on ancient Christianity. Let's begin.
This inspiring story is waiting for you at learnfromhillsdale.org. Sign up for free today.
Let's spill some tea.
All right, let's spill some tea, fueled by Artillery Tea Company, the only America First veteran-owned tea brand. And their mission is to maximize flavor with whole leaf blends and chemical-free tea bags. No junk, just real tea. And here's the tactical advantage: each bag brews twice. Just go to artillerytco.com and use the code RAV for 10% off your first order. Again, that's artillerytco.com. Premium tea, mission-driven, and brewed for the brave. It is time now to spill some tea, and in the cup today is Charlie Kirk. Google's new year in search 2025. I'm going to get that out. That new report is shedding light on the stories that captured the country. And at the very top of that list is the assassination of Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk. Google says Kirk was the #1 trending search of the year, outpacing everything from New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani to the iPhone 17 to the 43-day government shutdown. Charlie Kirk was fatally shot on September 10th during a TPUSA event at Utah Valley University. Authorities arrested 22-year-old Tyler Robinson 2 days later, accusing him of carrying out the attack. For more, let's bring in Terrence Bates and Dr. Gina. Terrence, I had the privilege of attending the Turning Point USA Gala at Mar-a-Lago on Sunday, and my God, you could just feel the energy in that room. It doesn't surprise me at all that Charlie was the #1 search. What happened to him was horrible and had a profound impact on so many young people, so many old people as well, just all Americans. This really was a turning point for our country.
Oh, absolutely. His assassination was a murder, a killing that gripped the entire globe, not just the United States. I mean, there were foreign leaders who were offering condolences to the United States relative to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And you have to keep in mind, this is someone who had mass influence on American and global politics, but was not an elected leader. And I think that really speaks to his cultural significance. And so as a result, it doesn't surprise me at all, Dr. Gina, that people searched him. And in fact, I don't know this, I'm going to do some research, but it wouldn't surprise me either if he was searched even more following his death posthumously, as people wanted to understand more about who this person was and why his influence was so great.
Well, I don't think there's any question about that, Terrence. Just by the searches, we know that perhaps posthumously his legacy lives in even bigger ways than it could have had he not been assassinated. But political assassinations are not something I think most of us thought that we were going to see in this lifetime, especially out of someone who wasn't elected, who was literally just an activist exercising their free speech rights. And let me just say, I certainly hope we get a lot of answers, because I'm sort of tired of these assassination attempts and very, very few answers.
Yeah, certainly needs to be some answers. And, it was so soon after, the attempt on President Trump's life last summer, and it just feels like we're at a turning point. It's the only way to describe it, a turning point in this country. We cannot go forward with political violence like this. We need to be able to have civil discourse and, conversations where we can come together and create some common ground, hopefully.
Yeah, and let's not forget the people that were also killed on J 6th, and also, of course, the gentleman that was killed at the rally where the assassination attempt was on the president's life. I just think we need to acknowledge that all those people were exercising their free speech rights as well, Terrence.
And I'll just end with, and I say this all the time, that's part of where we come in and we set the example for civil discourse, for being a platform to be able to agree to disagree, but doing so in a respectful manner. If we continue to do this, hopefully we can be leaders in that respect and show people that it is possible.
Yes, absolutely. All right, still to come on American Sunrise, Texas Border Patrol is getting help from some furry heroes. Canine teams and Horse Patrol are tracking gotaways across rugged ranch land, and these four-legged officers are making a big impact. That story is next. You don't want to miss it.
Life insurance is a wonderful asset. But what happens when you no longer need it, or you can't afford it any longer? Meet Tom and Susan. They chose to sell their $1 million life insurance policy for $200,000 cash. Now, they're sailing through retirement. Like David and Eunice, who sold their $300,000 life insurance policy for $30,000 to help make dreams come true. If you own a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more, you may be able to sell all or part of it for cash. Get an instant estimate of what your policy may be worth at ovidlife.com or scan the QR code on your screen. There's no cost or obligation to sell, and it won't affect your coverage. You can even choose to sell a portion of your policy while maintaining some coverage with no future premiums. Or call 1-800-485-6200. That's 1-800-485-6200. Or visit ovidlife.com now.
Guys, if you plan to retire in the next 20 years, or if you've already retired, I have a message for you that you need to hear. Central banks, BRIC nations, and our allies are pumping trillions of dollars back into America, but every dollar they send could make your savings worth less. Hi, I'm Donald Trump Jr., and I just want you to be prepared for the future. So protect your hard-earned savings with gold. A gold IRA from my trusted friends at the Birch Gold Group offers you the safety net of gold with the tax advantage status of a retirement account. To see how it's done, click the link below to get a free info kit on gold IRAs. This kit reveals why gold IRAs are exploding in popularity, so do it now. What do you have to lose? It's free and there's no obligation. Click the link below to get your free info kit from the Birch Gold Group.
All right, guys, I have to admit that with all of the talk about chili recipes, and by the way, apparently the celery and peanut butter thing, that is a thing. A lot of people in our chat said their moms served it like that too, but got me craving some Italian food. So Jason comes walking in with a pizza, and I have to concede to my friend David Brody in his absentia this morning while he is on assignment. It is a New York-style pizza. There was no St. Louis-style pizza available here in Washington, D.C., and it is very tasty. Who knew you could order pizza at 9 a.m.? Welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. Gina. Thanks for joining us today. Time now for our Sunny Side Up in the Pan today.
I'm sorry, Dr. Gina, just really quickly, I'm sorry. Is that Sbarro pizza?
It is. New York, 1956.
Sbarro's New York style. Yeah, it's Sbarro pizza, New York style pizza. It's about the same. It's really low quality. I'm sorry. I just wanted to throw that in there. Go ahead. Finish what you were saying.
It's quite tasty. And
it's New York shopping mall pizza.
There you go. New York shopping mall pizza.
At 9 a.m., you take what you can get in terms of pizza. All right, you guys, want to get to our story because it's a good one. Texas Border Security is getting a little help from some four-legged heroes, from German Shepherds to Belgian Malinois. Texas DPS K-9 teams are tracking illegal border crossers across rugged ranch land, deserts, and brush. And these paws-on patrol officers aren't just sniffing out narcotics. They're helping law enforcement apprehend criminals, proving that a good dog really is a human's best friend. Right, Colby? All right, this November, Texas celebrated the graduation of 9 new K-9 teams, including Stark, Shark, Arya, and Bona, who have already made their first apprehensions. Go puppies! It is great to see furry friends defending our homeland. Terrence, I love this story, and I love pizza.
I love pizza as well. Sbarro, I haven't had that since my last trip to the mall, which has been a while ago. But I'm not mad at you, sister. I'm all for it, and I would devour it right now if it were in front of me. But this is such a cool story. And the great part of stories like this is that the dogs and their handlers end up building this bond that truly does become a lifelong bond and goes well beyond the work relationship that the two of them share. The handlers tend to oftentimes even adopt the dogs after they